A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
And now, Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and what it means to be the wife of a famous star. A short time ago, when Mary Noble returned to the small New York hotel in the theater district where she's now staying, she was given a package at the desk in the lobby. When she opened it up, the card surprised her indeed, as she now explains to her good friend Maud Marlowe, a well-known character actress.
What do you mean it was waiting for you in the hotel safe? How could a ruby pendant meant for Julia Dixon find its way to you?
I'm telling you all I know, Maud. I went out to Long Island over Christmas so that I could be with our neighbors, Florence and Walter Baker. We invited Larry Jr. to stay with them through the holidays.
Yes, but that still doesn't explain it.
Well, when I got back just a little while ago, Mr. Burns at the desk downstairs said they'd been trying desperately to reach me for some time. He said a package had come by bonded messenger. And this is it.
Well, it's fantastic. Let's see that card again, Mary.
Oh, here it is, Maud.
Merry Christmas to Julia. With love and devotion, Rupert.
You see? It must have been missent.
Obviously. And of all the stupid things to do.
Told me at the desk that Rupert Barlow has been calling frantically.
I don't wonder. I don't suppose the great Rupert Barlow would care to have his faithful housekeeper and secretary know that he absent-mindedly sent her Christmas present to you.
Oh, I hope she never finds out what happened to it.
So do I. But even more, I hope Larry doesn't hear about it.
Oh, I don't see how he could. I certainly wouldn't dream of mentioning it to him. He has enough on his mind as it is. And right now I've managed to convince him that he was absolutely wrong to suspect there was anything at all between Rupert and me.
Well, it'll take more than mere words to keep him convinced, my dear. Your husband wasn't born yesterday, you know.
What do you mean, Maud? You know perfectly well I have no interest in Rupert, or anyone except Larry.
That may very well be. But that doesn't say Rupert feels the same way. He's been far too attentive. He's offered far too much assistance to be a casual friend.
You've made up your mind that Rupert is an evil person and nothing will change you.
Nothing is likely to change my mind about Rupert. Especially this present that was misdirected.
Is there anything wrong in that?
Well, why not ask Julia Dixon? I doubt if she'd be very happy to know where her Christmas present has landed.
Well, I don't intend to tell her. That would be unkind and entirely without purpose. But why you persist in thinking of Rupert Barlow as some kind of arch monster, just because he's done everything he could with his wealth and influence to help Larry through the terrible strain of a murder trial, is beyond me.
Mary, do you honestly think Rupert would have offered so much help to Larry if you hadn't been in the picture?
Why, yes. Well, that is... Well, he likes me. Is that wrong? And he knows I'm desperately worried about Larry. And so he's tried to step in and do what he could.
As a kind-hearted friend. Hasn't Rupert ever suggested that you are a long-suffering little woman with a philandering husband who was so madly smitten with the beautiful Claudia Vincent that he killed Oliver Wilson when he found he was secretly married to his inamorata?
He most certainly has not. Why, Rupert Barlow wouldn't dream of saying such a thing to me. And I don't think it's very kind of you to suggest it either. I thought you were a better friend of ours.
There's no good taking that tone with me, Mary. You know very well that I'd do anything in this world to keep you and Larry together.
Well, you're certainly not being very helpful right now.
Only because I want you to start thinking straight. Get it through your head that Rupert Barlow is poison, that he never does anything unselfishly, and that he can destroy your entire life if you give him the chance.
You base this on the fact that he first put money into Larry's play so that it could be produced quickly, and that he has since helped Larry by offering to pay for the most famous defense lawyer in the East, and by turning over his beautiful New York apartment to me, so that I could be close to Larry until his trial is over.
And you want me to believe this was purely unselfish?
What else could it be?
Now, look here, Mary Noble. You're a very sweet and a very honest woman. You love your husband, I know that. And you wouldn't even look at another man under ordinary circumstances.
Well?
These are not ordinary circumstances. In the first place, Rupert Barlow isn't an ordinary man. He's rich and influential. Well, and even I must admit he's handsome in a spoiled sort of way. And it's quite natural for you to be flattered by his attention.
And I suppose you mean by that I'm turning my back on Larry at a time like this, when his very life is in jeopardy, because I'm flattered by another man's attention. You don't know me very well now.
Now, just wait a minute. I know that you'll do anything to help Larry, and I know that you've stood by him faithfully.
Thank you for that much, anyhow.
What I am trying to say is that you may wonder about Larry's interest in Claudia Vincent. I know that you were intensely opposed to having Claudia about from the moment you met her.
Do you think that's strange? Claudia is a known fortune hunter. She's been trying to blackmail Rupert for years. Well, she even tried to shoot him the last time Larry and I were at his Oyster Bay estate. No matter what she claims, I know that's true. It was there to push her off balance and probably save Rupert's life.
Could be. Anyhow, Larry chose to take Claudia's side of the matter, and he brought her home to stay with you. And then he arranged to get her into his play. Now, all this has scarcely endeared her to you. That's why I wonder how much inner resentment still remains in your heart. Subconsciously, you may be getting back at Larry for ever getting himself involved with Claudia.
You couldn't be more wrong, Maud. And I'm entirely astonished to hear you even suggest such a thing. If you don't know me better than that by now, then you haven't been very observant all the time we've known each other.
All right, my dear. I hope you're 100% right. I was only suggesting that you might not know yourself as well as you like to think. But I can't say any more about it now. I'm past due at the theater. Wouldn't do it for an old warhorse like me to be late on her one last fling in a big part. Oh, don't be cross at what I said, Mary. Think about it.
And at the same time, we find Larry Noble in an angry and outrageous mood, talking to his close friend Lester Jordan, who has come to see him in the New York jail where he's awaiting trial. When they're alone in the visiting room, we hear...
Larry, some weeks ago, remember me saying I had a witness that could swing the case your way, and I couldn't tell you who it was?
Oh, sure, Les, I remember.
Well, I've had the most awful time knowing what to do about this person, and now I've decided not to pull any punches, no matter what happens. I'm going to let you know the whole story, and maybe you'll be able to decide what I ought to do.
Oh, if I can. Probably won't be much use to you.
Well, don't talk like that, Larry. Your trial is going to start next week. You've got to keep your chin up until then, no matter how tough it is to grind out the days in this rotten place.
Well, what about this person who's going to get me acquitted of murder? What's the secret formula? And what do I have to promise when I get out?
What's the matter with you today? You sound as though you're not even interested in your own trial.
Maybe I'm getting stir-crazy. Isn't that what they call it?
Oh, look here, Larry. This isn't a joke.
That's right, Les. It's no joke. I've been sitting in this dismal place for weeks, and I ought to know.
Now, listen to me, Larry. For the past 4 weeks, I've had your friend, Claudia Vincent, hiding out, promising to testify for you.
Claudia? Huh. I'm wondering whatever happened to Claudia.
She's been afraid to be seen, afraid to talk.
Why should she be afraid? Tell her all is forgiven. And if the police think I killed this Wilson guy because of her, well, it doesn't matter too much.
Don't be a fool, Larry. Now pull yourself together and listen to me.
I'm listening, Les. My good friend, Lester Jordan. One of the Green Room Club brothers. I'll never forget how you rallied round and produced a defense lawyer. Even though your Hubert Savage doesn't think highly of my chances for acquittal.
I'm trying to tell you that Claudia Vincent is willing to testify, and she promises she can win you an acquittal, if only I can protect her until the time to appear.
Well, what do you mean, protect her?
Well, I thought at first she was giving me a fancy story, and I began to lose interest. After taking a ride around Central Park in a hansom cab and spending another half hour on top of the Empire State Building.
What on earth are you talking about?
Claudia Vincent. She couldn't meet me in the open. I thought it was a lot of nonsense, but it turns out she's right. Larry, she called me yesterday, and I found her in a little West Side hotel, her head all wrapped up in bandages and bruises over her face.
What?
Someone is out to get her, Larry. I know that. What I don't know is how much good she'll do if I protect her until the time of your trial. Now, you ought to know the answer to that, and right now you'd better give it to me. Straight.
Larry Noble only half listens to his anxious friend, for he can't get out of his mind the message on the card that said,
To Mary, the loveliest woman in all the world, from Rupert.
Well, be sure to be listening tomorrow to Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and her husband Larry Noble, famous Broadway star.
Countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000 could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, the Murray Leinster story, If You Was a Moklin.
Up to the last minute, I can't imagine that Moklin is going to be the first planet that humans get off of. Moving fast, breathing hard, and sweating copious. There isn't any reason for it. Everything was all quiet at the trading post. I was sitting on the front porch while Deeth, he's the Moklin clerk. Looks a lot like a guy named Casey, used to be a wiper on the Palmyra. He comes out on the porch.
Mr. Brinkley?
Morning, Deeth. How's business?
Not so good. There were a few wood Moklins in this morning.
Yeah, I saw. Kind of nice looking. Those big saucer eyes. Hey, what makes the noses wiggle like rabbits?
Well, I don't know, sir. I'm not a woods Moklin.
Oh, sure. No offense. They buy much?
No, they didn't. They said the prices were too high.
Oh.
Yeah, they said they can get the same goods at the other trading post for half price.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to run a nice little monopoly for the company with another trading post opening up at half price.
What is it, sir?
Look at that little kid playing in the mud.
You mean the Moklin kid? Yeah, it's my cousin's niece.
I can't get over those little kids with the droopy mustaches like old man Bland. I gotta laugh every time.
Well, I understand. But you see, Moklins are getting much more human every day.
Hey, look at that. There go the trees on the landing field.
Yeah, but the relief ship isn't due for a month.
I never knew those trees to get up and walk away if there wasn't a ship due in. Yeah, there goes old Sally pulling up her roots. Well, this can't be any routine ship. I wish Brooks was back from the hills. Hey, Captain Haney! Over here!
All right, come on, let go of my hand. Yeah, nice to see you all again. Friends, yeah, sure. Friends. I wish those Moklins were a little less friendly each time. It's like being a movie star.
Captain Haney?
Hey, what's that? We didn't send in a requisition for anything like that. Red hair and everything else.
Captain?
Relax, Brinkley. That is Inspector Caldwell. She's a troubleshooter for Sam Company.
They must have finally read those reports Brooks keeps sending that.
Look out for her. She's... Oh, good morning, Miss Caldwell.
Inspector Caldwell, please.
This is Joe Brinkley. He's the assistant manager of the company post.
Where's Brooks?
He's up in the mountains, ma'am.
Well, he should have been here. I'm on Moklin to check into this matter of a competitive trading post. Who's back of it? The company is supposed to have exclusive trading rights.
Brooks is trying to find out. The Moklins around the place always say the humans are off somewhere hunting or something. We've never seen them. Hey, take the lady's luggage.
Yes, sir. It's a pleasure.
Oh, he looks a little familiar, your clerk.
He's a Moklin. But he looks a lot like a man used to be a wiper on the Palmyra, Casey. I think he's on the Aldebaran run now.
Please. Please conduct me to the trading post.
That afternoon, Brooks come down out of the hills with a bunch of woods Moklins that were guiding him. I took Inspector Caldwell over to meet him, and he gets one look at her red hair and other equipment, and he stops short.
Hey, what's this? She Moklin?
I beg your pardon.
This is Inspector Caldwell. She come in on a Palmyra today. This is Brooks, the head trader.
Well, am I glad to see you. I guess they finally read my reports in sector headquarters. You've come to check my request that the planet be abandoned?
Not at all. Moklin has great potentialities. Friendly natives. Trade should continue and increase.
But I explained.
All I'm interested in is why you allowed a competitive post to be established in our exclusive territory.
My reports cover that. Haven't you read them?
Of course not. I was given a briefing on the situation here and told to correct it. Well, now, let's get to it. Do they cut prices?
50%.
Yeah, but lots of Moklins still trade with us, just out of friendship. They're real friendly, these Moklins.
Now, I'd like to know just...
Excuse me, Mr. Brinkley.
What is it, Dave?
A girl just brought you a compliment.
Oh? Well, now send her in and get a present for her.
Yes, sir.
50%. Well, if they want a trade war, we'll give it to them. We can cut prices if we have to. We have all the resources of the company behind us.
My dear Miss Caldwell, if you'd read any of my...
Inspector Caldwell.
Here she is, Mr. Brinkley.
Compliments, sir. Compliments.
Wow. Let's see him.
He's asleep.
Well, look at that. Ears like mine. The same bastion nose and everything. What do you know? Kitsy, kitsy, kitsy. Hey, what's your name?
Morano.
I can't remember ever seeing you before. Well, that's the way it goes. Hey, Dave, take her in the post and give her a present.
And this way.
Thanks for the compliment. I'm greatly honored. Yeah, it's real cute, ain't it? Real human.
Human? Brinkley, you are going to be transferred out of here the instant the Palmyra gets back.
Why? You mean that girl? I'm giving her a present. What's the matter?
That's all you think about it? The callousness. You're revolting.
Miss Caldwell, I'm afraid maybe you don't exactly understand about parallel evolution here on Moklin.
I gather it's been parallel enough. That will be all on that subject, if you please. In the morning, I shall want to go and inspect that other trading post.
We set out for the trading post the next day. Brooks stayed behind on account of he was peeved that she hadn't read his report. Anyway, she was cute as a bug, and he resented anyone with a figure like that in authority over him, especially without reading his report. I tried to explain to Miss Caldwell that we just couldn't go in and rip up the opposition post.
Why not? They're poaching.
Moklins imitate humans. Now, if we start trouble, they'll start it too. Anything. Mayhem, murder, theft, bigamy.
Bigamy? You're worried about that?
Listen, Miss Caldwell, you've got to understand about Moklin evolution.
I'm not interested.
Here, wait a minute. Now, this is a nest bush, see? There's about a dozen nests on it. Now, only about 2 of them are right. Look.
Oh, there's a bird.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Now, see, the bush grows nests for the cacklebird, and the bird, well, fertilizes around the bush. It's even Steven. See, that's the way evolution works on Moklin, like we were trying to tell you.
Mr. Brinkley, I am not interested in learning about the birds and the bees on Moklin or any other planet from you. Now, let's get on to that trading post.
Naturally, when we got there was only a couple of Moklins hanging around. They told us the same story about the humans having gone off somewhere hunting donderflies. When we got back to the company post, Inspector Caldwell, furious as a wet cacklebird, marched right into Brooks.
I have just ordered a price cut on all items on sale by 75%. I've also ordered unlimited credit for Moklin customers. They want a trade war over there? I'll give it to them.
But you don't understand. There's a whole planet where they could have put another trading post without being discovered. Why put it so close to us?
That furnishes them with a ready-made market for human trade goods. And it furnished them with Moklins trained to be interpreters and clerks. And it furnished them with a Moklin head clerk, who is a very handsome young man, Mr. Brooks. He not only resembles you in every feature, but he even has a good many of your mannerisms. You should be very proud. Goodbye.
That's funny. Like me, huh?
That's right. Splitting image.
Funny as folks never brought him for a compliment present. How good's the likeness?
If he was wearing your clothes, I'd swear it was you.
Maybe. Joe, remember that time you went off hunting with Deeth and his folks?
Yeah, sure. We were after donderflies. We caught about 6 of them.
You were wearing Moklin clothes, weren't you?
Well, you know how they are. You're insulted if you don't.
Listen, did you come back after one day for tobacco and a bath?
No. No, we were way over at Tunlib Hill. Some Moklin got killed and we had to bury him. It took 2 days.
Well, during that week, while you were off wearing Moklin clothes, somebody came back here wearing your clothes. He got some tobacco and went out again. He looked just like you, Joe. Exactly. Nobody suspected it wasn't you.
Why should he want to do that?
Well, he might have been checking to see if he could fool me.
Oh, that's a situation, ain't it?
I haven't mentioned it before, but I've been guessing it's something like this. Moklins like to be human, and they have kids that look human. Look at the difference between Deeth and a woods Moklin. Well, maybe they can want to be smart like humans. And pretty soon they are, or their kids are. That rival trading post.
You figure there aren't any humans running it.
They're practicing with that.
You mean they might figure to get rid of us and have a couple of Moklins take our place? I don't believe that. Moklins like humans. They wouldn't harm humans for anything. They like to be just like them.
Listen, Joe. Miss Caldwell is the first human woman on Moklin, isn't she?
Yeah? Why?
She's got red hair. The first woman the Moklins see, and with red hair. You know how Moklins admire humans. With luck, it ought to turn up soon. Boy, she's going to take it hard if it does. Women hate to be wrong. But it's about our only chance. Listen, Joe, we've got to have some check between us.
What for?
Well, if there's a Moklin that looks like me and one that looks like you, we better have a signal. Look, I'll cough twice, like this. And you whistle back. That way we'll know it's us.
Okay.
Try it. Good, good. That way we'll know we're us.
Brooks starts off the next morning to visit the other trading post and see the Moklin that looks so much like him. Before he goes, we do our little routine. It's about 2 weeks till the Palmyra is due back. That's pretty close figuring, waiting for what we're waiting for. I was thinking how good life was on Moklin up to now, and that made me kind of a little sad. But it's the end, there's no doubt about it. Moklin sure admire humans. They produce kids that look like them. You can't help liking Moklins. But I can see what Brooks means. Moklin's loose among humans, outsmarting them as their kids grow up, just about taking over in the galaxy. When they come back from the other trading post, we went through the secret business again. In the meantime, Inspector Caldwell was busy with her trade war. She cut prices once, twice, finally 6 times, until 3 days before the Palmyra is due back, our goods are marked at exactly 1% of what they cost a month before. Brooks was getting more and more nervous. Seemed like he was falling kind of in love with a snappy little inspector. He was getting jumpy, waiting for her to get her big surprise. She was making out merchandise requisitions one morning when Deeth come in, smiling friendly at her.
Inspector Caldwell?
Oh, what is it, Deeth?
There's a compliment for you.
What?
3 of them.
What is he talking about?
Joe, this is it. Deeth, show him in.
Now, look, I haven't got time for public relations. These inventories...
Here we are.
Inspector Caldwell, 3 compliments.
Compliment, compliment, compliment.
Now, let's see him.
Very pretty, very human, no?
Oh, no. No, that's impossible. No.
Very pretty. Red hair, all 3 of them. Red hair.
Very pretty red hair. Same as human lady. Very pretty.
All right, Deeth. Take her out and give her some presents.
This way. Come on.
But that's impossible. Those babies, 3 of them, they couldn't.
They do. They look exactly like you. That's what we were trying to tell you.
I've only been here a month.
Moklin babies get born real fast. They sure admire humans. It's kind of friendly when you think about it.
You mean They can make their babies look like anybody they want?
It was all in my reports. They've got a queer sort of evolution here on Moklin. Babies here inherit desired characteristics, not acquired characteristics, desired ones. And what could be more desirable than you? Red hair and all.
Oh, but I thought, you and Brinkley... Oh.
You couldn't help it, dear, really.
But I hated you. I thought that...
Now, look, darling. Joe.
Yeah?
Do me a favor, will you?
Sure, what?
Get out of here.
Oh. Okay.
And stay away for a while.
Sure. Only one thing.
What?
That's... Okay. Then I'll leave you two together. About 2 days later, the Palmyra boomed down out of the sky. We were all packed up waiting on the field when the trees finished getting out of the way. I kept thinking, no matter what, Moklin sure are friendly. They sure do admire humans. I could see them crew members with Liberty heading off from the field with a whole gang of laughing, singing Moklins following each one of them. After a while, Cap Haney came over on a freight truck.
It's a pleasure, I tell you, to see these Moklins. I just came here from Welch's Planet. The natives there are suspicious, unfriendly, and if you're not watching, they'll steal your gold teeth. But Moklin...
Captain Haney, don't give orders to unload your cargo.
What do you mean?
We are abandoning the post.
What?
We are leaving Moklin completely.
Sam Company pulling out when there's still a mill credit to be made? I don't believe it.
I have authority to order the move, and Mr. Brooks has convinced me of the necessity for it.
Now, Inspector, I know the company doesn't like to give in to competition.
There isn't any competition.
Well, I thought...
Miss Fogle's right. That other trading post is purely a Moklin enterprise. They bought our goods from us and pretended to sell them at half price, and we got our prices, so they bought more goods from us and went on. Some Moklin must have thought it'd be nice to be a smart businessman, so his kids would be smart businessmen. Too smart. We'll close up this post before the Moklins think of something else.
What? What do they think of?
If they got loose from this planet, if they can pass as humans, their kids could take over human civilization. How would you like that?
I see, yeah.
You'd better make ready to blast off, Captain.
Yeah, but I got the B section off on shore Liberty. Men are scattered all over the place.
With Moklins?
Sure, with Moklins. You know how it is. Regular party. Fancy Moklin clothes, food, liquor.
Captain, you'd better sound the emergency recall.
Yeah, I see what you mean right away. Well, that accounts for all but about 5 of them.
They're coming across the field now.
Keep that line straight for the hatch. We got to count off.
4, 5. Yeah, they're all in line.
I'll check against the roster.
Wait a minute, there's another one coming. Look. By that tree.
There can't be. I got 38 men lined up already. 38, that's a full count.
That's a human.
He's wearing Moklin clothes.
It looks like Pete Werber from the engine crew.
Hey, wait. Wait for me. Wait.
Yeah, but it can't be. Werber's already checked in. There he is in line.
Wait for me.
Hey, where'd you come from?
I couldn't find my clothes. You see, I was in these Moklin clothes when the signal went off. I was trying to find my clothes.
Werber, look over there in the line.
Where? Hey, that's my clothes. That guy. He looks just like me. Now, what's the idea?
Hey, you. Come over here.
Yes, sir.
What's the idea?
All right, you caught me. I'm a Moklin.
He stole my clothes.
Why did you do it?
Oh, we Moklins like humans so much, I thought it would be nice to make a trip to Earth and see more humans.
How come he looks like me?
My parents planned it 5 years ago when you came here first. They made me look like this wonderful human and hid me till now.
You give me back my clothes.
Well, of course. I wouldn't want to make any difficulties for humans.
He took it as a joke on him. He talked English as good as anybody. It was hard to tell which was the Moklin and which the human guy. So we let him keep the human uniform, and he was very grateful. We took off after that. And the Moklin stood around and laughed and waved and threw flowers as we closed the hatches. Pretty soon the Palmyra was pushing up through the atmosphere. And just before the auxiliary circuits went on during the jump to overdrive, we all stood around in the astrogator's dome with the screen turned up to high mag and watched as Moklin faded into a round cantaloupe behind us.
It's a shame. Sure was a pretty planet. Real friendly.
Too friendly. I still have the shivers, thinking we almost took a Moklin off with us.
The other crew had been on Moklin long enough to have a double. 5 years is a safety margin. Takes them that long to grow up.
We were lucky, huh, Joe?
Huh? What?
I said we were lucky.
Yeah. We sure are. I guess I was the only one who felt a little different from the others about leaving Moklin. I mean, Moklin's are swell folks, and it seemed a shame. There'll be an order out that no human ship is allowed to land on Moklin. But I was thinking, I'll save my money, and those compliments, those 3 little kids that look just like Inspector Caldwell, in about 5 years they'll be grown. And I'll buy me a little private ship and shove off from Moklin again. And I'll pick me one of those 3 red-headed gals and marry her Moklin style and bring her out to a human colony planet. I'll have kids with brains, top-level brains. That's easy. If she wants it, that's the way the kids will be born. I'll have to bring other Moklins out, too, and start them passing for humans. My kids are going to need other Moklins to marry, aren't they? It's not that I don't like humans. I do. If the fellow I look like, Joe Brinkley, hadn't gotten killed accidental on that hunting trip, I never would have thought of taking his place and being Joe Brinkley. That's what I was thinking when Brooks suddenly got an idea.
Wait a minute. Joe, you and I were on Moklin more than 5 years.
Yeah? So?
One thing. And everything's all right.
I mean, you can't blame me for wanting to live among humans, can you? Wouldn't you, if you was a Moklin?
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features another fascinating For Your Information column written by Willie Lay. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you If You Was a Moklin, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Murray Leinster and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in the cast were Joseph Julian, Patricia Wheel, Carl Weber, Ralph Camargo, Helen Gerald, Stan Early, John Marley, and Dick Janiver. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Next week, listen to Project Trojan, an original story by Ernest Kenoy on X-1. Follow the news with Chet Huntley tonight on NBC Radio.
In just a moment, X-1. But first, a quiz program does not always improve your IQ. But what's an NBC radio quiz program? Well, you can be sure it'll improve your disposition. Yes, NBC offers listeners a laugh lesson every Wednesday night with 2 fun-filled question-and-answer shows. One is Truth or Consequences, and though you may never learn why a chicken crosses the road, you'll howl as contestants perform the stunts dreamed up by MC Jack Bailey. The other is You Bet Your Life, and with a quizmaster like Groucho Marx, your good time is always guaranteed. Hear Truth or Consequences and You Bet Your Life with Groucho Marx tomorrow. Now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, Project Trojan by Ernest Kenoy. Most of the greatest contributions and biggest messes in history have been made by two kinds of brains, the devious and the literal. We quote from the monthly column written for Galaxy by its editor, H.L. Gold. For our story tonight has been inspired by one of his recent columns, discussing the exceedingly thin line that sometimes lies between science fiction and science fact, and of the strange use that both Allied and German intelligence made of science fiction during the recent World War II. Our report, of course, is entirely fictional, but similar schemes are known to have been attempted by both sides. And now, here is Project Trojan.
The idea of Project Trojan was originally conceived in February of 1943. The Intelligence Plans Commission, an adjunct to Joint Army and Naval Intelligence, was under the command of Colonel Sir Harold Bostwick. The first antecedent of Project Trojan occurred on an afternoon in February. Corporal Arthur Muggeridge was serving tea to Lieutenant Maurice Withering and Captain Amos Mackenzie.
Here you are, sir. That's real butter on the bread. I won 5 pounds of it from one of those Yank mess sergeants over at the Crown and Land.
Oh, butter, eh?
Aye, sir.
Mackenzie. Well, confounded man, you might show some interest. Here Muggeridge tangles with the 8th Air Force to improve your tea, and you sit there reading. And what the devil is so engrossing?
No, never mind. If it's me you're worrying about, you needn't, sir. I was cleared for most confidential and top secret before I set foot in the pantry.
What is it, Mackenzie?
Well, I was reading about a fascinating notion. It's a machine, you see, dreadfully ingenious. It's a method of setting up a reverse polarization field about a given metallic surface, say the plates on a submarine or a tank. Makes them 5 times as strong. A little more cream, Muggeridge.
It's powdered milk, sir.
Hush, leave me to my illusions.
Well, Mackenzie, how can you be so calm? Don't you realize what this means? Tanks 5 times as strong? Is it in production? I mean, when do the first models go into combat? But it's certainly been a well-kept secret.
I wouldn't say that. There's about 50,000 people who know all about it here in England. And, of course, a great many more in America.
Oh, that's impossible.
But I doubt if it will ever be used in combat.
You're stark raving crackers. A secret like it. Where did you find this? Now, let me see that.
Here you are.
Incredible science fiction.
It's an American magazine.
You mean this is a story, one of those Jules Verne things? You've been pulling my leg.
Aye?
Well, I mean, after all... Well, Captain Mackenzie, I hardly think that... Well...
Now, don't get stuffy, man.
After all, to chaff me before the ranks.
I don't mind, sir.
But it did have you going, didn't it?
Well, it sounded plausible. I don't know a confounded thing about electrical fields.
Even if you did, it might take you in, huh? You see, the trick these science fiction lads do is to take something that's solid as a rock and then to push it just a wee bit forward till you simply can't tell where the science ends and the fiction begins.
Still, I wish you'd exercise your ingenuity in deceiving Jerry rather than me.
Good Lord. That's a fine idea.
What is?
If an intelligent, brilliant officer and gentleman like yourself might be taken in by a wild tale like this, whom else's leg might we pull? Huh? Muggeridge, another bread and butter sandwich, if you please, and take one yourself.
Lieutenant Withering and Captain Mackenzie worked out preliminary plans for Project Trojan and presented them at an appropriate time to Colonel Sir Harold Bostwick.
Sit down, Withering, Mackenzie.
Oh, thank you, sir.
We had breakfast. I understand Corporal Muggeridge has been playing darts with the Yanks again. There are fresh eggs for breakfast.
We've had breakfast, sir.
Oh, well, then.
We have a plan, sir.
Oh, capital.
You remember, sir, our intelligence reports indicated a concentration of German research scientists working near Hanau.
Certainly, I recall. They've got the whole lot of them inside a mountain. We tried bombing. I doubt if they even noticed.
They're supplying the basic research for the German guided missile program.
Yes, we know that. The reaction motor for the V1s came out of the Hanau lab. Oh, Muggeridge!
Oh, you see, sir, if a considerable number of those research scientists were diverted to another project, the rocket program would be crippled.
Yes, well, of course it would. What are you going to do? Advertise in the Times and offer them high wages?
Aye, sir.
Oh, Muggeridge, this coffee.
No, sir.
Next time you go to the Crown and Lance, keep coffee in mind, will you?
Aye, sir. Only the Yanks are getting fair dives at darts. It was touch and go with the Yanks.
Oh, we can only expect you to do your best.
I'll try, sir.
Well, now, come to the point, gentlemen.
Suppose the Germans got hold of one of our top new development weapons. Something so completely overwhelming that they'd have to pull almost every man off rockets to work on it.
Now, look here, Mackenzie. Those Jerry scientists are not exactly playing about with small boys' chemistry sets. They're a cut above our own chaps in several fields. What makes you think you could plant something on them?
Science fiction, sir.
I beg your pardon?
You see this magazine?
Yes, incredible science fiction. What's that chasing that girl?
That's a Martian, sir. You can tell by his tentacles.
Mackenzie, are you stringing this along preliminary to applying for compassionate leave on the grounds that you're overworked?
No, sir. It's a good plan. We invent a weapon that might exist but doesn't. And we leave it lying about where the Germans can snap it.
And then they take most of the scientist fellows off the rocket program to work on our weapon.
And that's the most preposterous nonsense I've ever heard.
But, sir...
I don't want to hear anything more about it.
Yes, sir. I suppose she was right.
Who was right?
This Wren. I met her going up to London. Rather proper little type till you got to know her. But then she's rather a firebrand.
Captain Mackenzie, please spare us the sordid details of your off-duty peculation.
Sorry, sir. You see, she's the secretary to Admiral Sir Alan Grummins. They're talking of dropping this unit. They feel that other intelligence groups are quite competent to handle the routine, unimaginative work that we've been doing.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm.
Of course, they'd reassign personnel.
Mm-hmm. Would you say this science fiction scheme of yours was imaginative?
Oh, it's practically visionary.
Well, suppose you do some preliminary work.
Thank you, sir.
Routine, eh? Unimaginative, eh? Bah!
On the 14th of February, preliminary work was begun on Project Trojan. At first, Lieutenant Withering and Captain Mackenzie worked alone, researching the source material of the project.
Slamming the firing keys, brick blasted down on the Krull warship. Bright beams of crisp destruction lanced out from the giant dreadnought and licked along the plates of Brick's one-man scout.
Nothing in that one.
What have you got?
It's a story about two robots who fall in love.
What's the name of that Johnny who came closest?
Herman. Jad Herman.
He got half a dozen ideas that are close. Where do you suppose he is?
Somewhere in the States, I suppose.
That's no use, then.
Why? Look, man, perhaps we can put a query through Central Chafe Intelligence. The Yanks ought to be able to dig up this Herman chap for us.
No. It's worth a try.
It took 7 days for a report to reach IPC that one Jacob David Herman, a private first class in the American Air Force, was based on a field north of Cheltenham in the Gloucestershire area. Lieutenant Withering and Captain Mackenzie requisitioned transport and visited Herman at his place of duty.
You don't mind if I go ahead with my job, do you? I gotta have this place ready for inspection by 1300.
Go right ahead.
Hand me the cleaning powder, will you, please?
Yes.
Say, what do they put in porcelain in England? You break your arm trying to get it clean.
Private Herman, You are Jad Herman, writer?
Yeah, that's a pen name, Jad. I use it for SF stuff. I used to write for the Confessions under the name of Cynthia Herman. I remember one article. I was saved by the YWCA from a life of shame.
We're interested in your science fiction articles at the moment.
Oh, yeah? Well, I know we had some sci-fi fans in England.
Well, we're not exactly sci-fi fans. We're from... Anybody else here?
Well, look for yourself. There's no hiding place down here.
Well, we're from Intelligence Plans Commission.
Uh-huh.
We need your assistance, Mr. Herman.
No kidding.
We have a project that calls for your particular talents.
You got a latrine needs cleaning?
We're quite serious, Mr. Herman. Will you kindly pack your things and be ready to come with us within 1 hour?
Oh, I'm sorry, gentlemen. I couldn't possibly leave until after inspection. I've got too much of myself invested in this latrine. But after that, I'm at your service.
Private First Class Jacob D. Herman, 329-62126, was transferred on special detached duty to Project Trojan, and after briefing was set to work on basic plans.
Oh, look, Mac, here's the way I see it. If you want to con a scientist, you got to be pretty straight all the way. You can't get away with more than one phony step in the process.
Precisely.
Now, here's the way I see it. It's a focusing beam weapon. The electronics on that is square. I used it in a story about 2 years ago. Feinschreiber at MIT and Temple and Westover at the Bell Telephone Laboratories worked out the basic field formulas.
What do you mean it's real?
Well, up to a point. Everything's on the level till you get to the catalytic action on the grid. Now, that just won't work. It's a basic problem in physics, and it makes the whole thing impossible.
But don't the Germans know that?
Oh, sure. You see, you make up plans for the weapon, call it a death ray. You let the Germans steal everything but the catalyst formula. They'll think we've got it licked, and they'll break their necks trying to duplicate it before we put the weapon in production.
I see. But we can't call it a death ray.
Well, how about projector, electronic grid deflecting type 3?
That has a broad ring to it, my lad.
I've got the basic idea of the thing, but you'll have to get some of your science boys to work it out.
Oh, we'll put a requisition into the Manpower Commission in the morning.
Doctors Montague, Felder, Harrison, Seisenby, and Pilsudski were assigned to Project Trojan, and under the direction of Private First Class Jacobs, complete specifications and plans for projector electronic grid deflecting type 3 were drawn up. Project Trojan was ready for Phase 2.
Have we got everything? Blueprints?
Check.
Specifications?
Check.
Machine tool inventories?
Check.
Letter rejecting the plans from the War Office?
Check.
Endorsement from Supreme Headquarters rejecting plans?
Check.
Note from 10 Downing Street overriding rejections, handwritten postscript, build the confounded thing, WC.
Check. Don't you think that's going a little too far, the rejections?
Not at all. That's the master touch. A rejection of an idea by the War Office makes it appear most genuine. All right. Private Herman, if this thing were real, if it could be built, what would it do?
Oh, don't ask. You could blow a hole in a mountain 10 miles away. Well, you could knock down a whole wing of bombers without even aiming.
Oh, dear. Lucky it won't work.
I should say so. Oh, well, now to get this lovely thing into Jerry's hands.
Phase 3 of Project Trojan was commenced on the 15th of March, 1943. Central Counterintelligence Agency had discovered the infiltration of a German agent, a Belfast Irishman named Gogarty, into the Blueprint Division of Clark and Porchester, a printing firm doing some subcontract work for the Air Ministry. Gogarty, the German agent, presumably microfilmed the plans because shortly thereafter he received word that his sister, living in the Irish Free State, was to be married to a bus conductor. British agents attending the wedding disguised as farm labourers lost track of Gogarty for several hours due to circumstances beyond their control.
Then we have no way of knowing whether Gogarty delivered the Project Trojan plans.
Well, sir, There was a submarine sighted the day before off the coast. It's likely he made contact.
Well, keep me informed. That's all we need now, another disaster.
Did something else go wrong?
You're jolly well right. Muggeridge has been playing darts with the Yanks again.
Oh? What have we got this time? Butter or beefsteak?
Nothing. The blight has lost my whole month's whiskey ration.
Now the cover operation supporting Project Trojan was undertaken. A battalion of the Royal Engineers was detailed to practice at secret installations with wooden mock-ups of the projector. A lance corporal in this detachment, a volunteer afterwards awarded the George Medal, was court-martialed and sentenced to 7 years hard labor for revealing information about the project while drunk on a 3-day leave to Tynecastle. This particular aspect of Project Trojan has been in the news recently, inasmuch as several backbench Labour members of Parliament have asked questions in the House, as it came out that the corporal served the full 7 years and wasn't released until 1951. The Home Secretary explained that this was an unfortunate oversight, and there were jeers from the opposition, with Mr. Anoyden Bevan taking the occasion to call for the resignation of the government. At the time, March and April 1943, the Intelligence Plans Commission awaited reports from British operatives.
Sir, there's been a shift in assignment at the research laboratories at Hanau. Professor Schlickmann and Doctors Hirsch, Van Sulau, and Grishman have been transferred from rocket research to another project.
Trojan?
We must assume so.
But that's only 4 men.
But they're the top experts in electronics, chemistry, and metallurgy. If they're really working on Trojan, we've set the German rocket program back a year, while their scientists go yelping off after a red herring.
Well, let's hope so. Bring me any further reports as soon as received.
British intelligence reports, filtering back through occupied Norway and neutral Sweden, continued to indicate the success of Project Trojan. 4 more top scientists were known to be transferred from the rocket research base at Peenemünde to the Hanau laboratories. Definite knowledge was obtained that the new assignment was a startling new weapon, agreeing in detail with Project Trojan.
What a sally, Mackenzie. What a stunt.
Yes, sir.
We shall have to have a little party to celebrate. We'll have that Herman chap in for a drink. I'm sending Muggeridge off to play darts with some of the Free French over at Germain Manor. He ought to be back soon with the champagne. Pour all round. Private Herman?
Thank you.
All right now, to the projector, electronic grid deflecting type 3. The biggest fraud since the South Sea bubble.
Colonel Bostwick.
Oh, Withering, take a glass. We're just drinking to Trojan.
Well, I think I'd rather not, sir.
What do you mean?
There's a dispatch from Germany.
What about it?
A section of the mountain overlooking Hanau has disappeared.
What?
It's true. It was on the reconnaissance maps yesterday, and it was gone this morning. A 10-mile slice of mountain.
That's impossible.
Oh, it isn't. It works. Trojan works.
But it can't. There's no catalyst. It's impossible. All our scientists said so.
Well, I guess they were wrong. It works.
They must have found the catalyst.
I suppose we should have foreseen that. All those scientists working on it.
They must have built the model and tried it out.
It won't take them more than 3 months to put it into production.
Well, there goes the war.
Muggeridge.
Aye, sir.
Fill the glasses up again.
Intelligence Plans Commission now waited for additional dispatches concerning the reaction to Project Trojan in Germany. It was decided as a matter of policy to confine knowledge of these latest developments to the personnel of the project.
Anything new, Mackenzie?
No, sir, except that aerial reconnaissance confirms the damage to the mountain at Hanau. It's not quite as extensive as the first dispatch, but it is a bit of a hole.
Oh, what do they think caused it?
The Air Ministry seems to feel that an ammunition dump must have blown up.
Couldn't that be it?
I'm afraid not, sir. We have an intelligence report about several captured British and American tanks being brought to Hanau for testing. They were spotted the next day, completely destroyed.
Trojan?
Trojan. There's been an alert at factories producing parts for V1 and V2 rockets to prepare for retooling.
They're going to make the projector?
It would seem so, sir.
Well, I suppose I'd better go up to London tomorrow and make a clean breast of it.
I'm afraid so, sir.
Well, that's the end. Seems rather unsporting, doesn't it? Just handing the war over to them. I hate to think what the War Office will say. Not to mention the Prime Minister.
Project Trojan was nearing its closing phase. At precisely 0600 the next morning, Colonel Sir Harold Bostwick ordered his staff car and, taking a thermos of tea, proceeded to leave his office. Just before the staff car got underway, Lieutenant Withering appeared with another dispatch, accompanied by Captain Mackenzie and Private Herman.
Colonel Bostwick, sir. Wait.
So what is it, Withering?
Another dispatch.
No, don't, please. It's bad enough.
There's been another disaster at Hanover.
They knocked another mountain with our little present to them?
No, sir. They've knocked themselves out.
What?
The laboratory under the mountain. It's exploded.
It has?
Went up like a Roman candle. We've got pictures. There was a flight of mosquito bombers over at the time.
What happened?
The projector. It backfired.
How do you know?
It had to. That's why the catalyst is impossible. You see, the metal fatigue on the grid is a function of...
Never mind. Are you sure?
Yes, sir. We have a reliable agent's report. The Germans are completely confused. They were operating the projector under a top-secret designation. Nobody knew any of the details except a dozen scientists working on it. And they were inside the laboratory when it blew. Our man was in the rescue squad. There isn't a thing left, sir. Plans, models, or scientists.
Sir, do you realize that Project Trojan was a success? We've diverted a dozen top scientists from the rocket program permanently. Well, do you think we'll be decorated?
Lieutenant Withering, inasmuch as we came particularly close to handing the whole war to the Germans on a silver platter, I suggest we forget Project Trojan.
Oh, yes. Yes, I see, of course.
You're very canny, sir.
I think we had all better return to precisely what we were doing before the whole nasty mess started.
The final phase of Project Trojan was completed on the 22nd of March, 1943. The file, through some inadvertent error, was lost before the Intelligence Plans Commission had a chance to report to the War Office. All personnel returned to their previous assignment.
All right. No splashing on the floor. I got to get this latrine ready for inspection by 1300.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features the William Tenn novelette Time in Advance, the story of a man who made a strange bargain and endured the worst the galaxy had to offer, so that someday he could make the Earth sweat. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Project Trojan, an original story by Ernest Kenoy based on an idea contained in an editorial in Galaxy written by H.L. Gold. Featured in the cast were Burford Hampton, Alastair Duncan, Ivor Francis, Alfred Shirley, Bill Quinn, and your narrator was Alfred Hisler. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
For the first time since Jerry Hall, Mrs. Gregory, and Tex Bradford have been prisoners on their captive yacht at the magic island of Euclidia, they have a chance to escape. G-47, their mad scientific captor, has allowed them to remain aboard their yacht. With the aid of the opaque cloth made on the island, our friends have insulated a cabin on the yacht and may talk in safety. Their radio is useless for transmission, but through code messages received from the operator on the other Gregory boat, help may soon be near. Captain Bradford is about to explain the plan to Jerry as Joan and her mother come into the cabin.
Now, hurry and get into this thing, Pat. You too, Joan. Well, Pat, thanks to you and your determination to take the bosun and bosun's mate with us on every cruise, we're about to get a message to Johnson.
How long will it take Johnson to get within range?
It all depends on what time he sails from San Pedro. We'll keep our receiver open and he'll let us know when he's within striking distance.
And how much we'll all owe to the little bosun and his mate. I'm certainly glad now we've always carried them and trained them.
Hey, for the love of Pete, will you two quit talking and tell somebody else what it's all about?
Yes, Mother. You and the captain talk so fast. Jerry and I do not know what it is all about.
Oh, I'm sorry, Joan. I was just going to explain it to Jerry when you and your mother came back to the cabin.
You see, Joan, dear, we haven't had a chance to show you over the whole boat as yet, and we forgot you hadn't seen the pigeons.
Well, of all the nuts, I'm the worst. I watched those pigeons all the way down here from Los Angeles and never thought to ask a question about them.
But what can pigeons have to do with getting a message to your friend Johnson?
They're not just pigeons. They're homing pigeons. Gosh, and I never even thought of it.
Well, don't feel too badly, Jerry. You're quick enough to see the significance in most things.
Say, Joan.
Yes, Captain Bradford?
Didn't you ever hear them talk about homing pigeons here on Euclidia?
I have never heard a word about them. So it must be that the scientists do not talk much about them, for they are so sure no one can escape from the island that they discuss most things before all of us.
Well, I hope you're right, and it seems possible that you are. This infernal Euclidia is so far ahead of the world in scientific development, they must have forgotten the old standbys, or scorn to use them.
G47 always says that all things scientific are superior to the finest things in nature.
That belief is the first weakness in the reasoning of G47 that I have found.
I guess he figures that homing pigeons are old-fashioned.
That may be, but they're the only possible method of getting a message through that magnetized fog and all the other electrochemical devices this island is protected with.
Do these pigeons really carry messages?
You bet they do. And they fly fast, too.
It is wonderful to learn that. We have pigeons on Euclidia also, but they are used only for pigeon pie. We have none that can talk. Only our parrots can talk, and they are not trained to carry messages.
Our pigeons can't talk either, my dear.
Then how do they carry messages?
Oh, Joan.
Now you are laughing at me.
Well, I'm sorry, honey. We shouldn't do that. You see, these pigeons can't talk. We write a message on a piece of thin, strong paper, then tie it to their leg with a fine wire band and turn them loose. They are taught to return to one place, or one kind of a place, and someone is waiting there to get the message.
Well, if we're going to do anything with them, we'd better get busy and send one off because if old G47 finds us looking too happy, he'll know we've got some plan, and then he'll make kindling wood out of this yacht to find out what it is.
Nevertheless, we'll have to be patient for several hours, maybe a day or two.
Why can't we let the pigeon go now, right away?
We've got to wait till Johnson gets the other boat within the range these birds can cover. We're about 4,000 miles from Los Angeles, on this island, and the longest recorded flight over water was only a little over 1,000. And that's about the limit so far as I know.
Well, if Johnson started from here the same time he got my first message that we were in danger, before old G47 got me with that ray gun and made me change the message, Johnson's boat ought to be 1,000 miles out of San Pedro by now.
How fast does this ship, the ship that Mr. Johnson is in, how fast will it travel?
Well, he'll be using our diesel-motored cruiser, and although it's nearly a 100-foot boat, it's built on hydroplane specifications, and Johnson runs it as if it had wings. So he ought to average from 50 to 55 knots for the run.
Golly whiskers. Who ever heard of a big boat going 55 knots an hour for 4,000 miles?
We have a number of things that the world in general never heard of, son. That boat will do all of that. But the worry is that heavily loaded with all my scientific equipment on board, it will burn a lot of fuel.
And how will the fuel be replenished, Captain?
From various ships Johnson will contact along the run. Ships flying Mrs. Gregory's merchant pennant, which will then put out from several ports to meet him.
Boy, you're sure some mysterious people, all right. But just so as it comes out okay, I guess I can wait for the answers till you get ready to give them to me.
You are an intelligent boy, Jerry.
I know it.
Now, you two keep still. We've got to figure just when to get that pigeon off to Johnson. There are many things to be planned and done before this flight can start. One thing, Tex. We must remember that magnetic fog and use string rather than wire on the leg band.
Tex, I know what to do. A thread from this cloth of theirs.
You do not have to worry about that all the time. And sometimes the fog is not magnetized.
Are you sure about that, Joan?
That would make it easier, wouldn't it, Tex?
That would make it almost simple.
But how can you tell that the fog is not magnetized all the time?
I have heard the scientists talking about it. They magnetize the fog only when danger is near, and they have instruments which warn them of a boat or airplane 100 miles away. G47 says the constant utilization of current in the magnetism of the fog ring is too heavy a drain on the electric supply, which is difficult to replenish quickly.
Well, that sounds reasonable. With all the machines they have running, all electrically driven, I imagine, they should conserve their power as much as possible. But how can you tell when the fog is magnetized and when it is not?
It is magnetized only when the danger signal shows.
Where is this danger signal, Gag?
There is a red light in the center of the island by night and a red signal by day.
Then if we make sure the red light is not displayed, we may safely send the pigeon.
I think it will be quite safe, Mother.
It looks as if we're getting somewhere at last.
But suppose G47 discovers these pigeons before we can use them.
I got it. It's dark now. I'll go out and get the pigeons and bring them in here. Then he can't see them through this cloth.
I will go with you, Jerry.
Now hold it, you kids. We'd better not go near the pigeons till we want them.
But, Tex, what if someone on the island notices them before we want them?
Did you see the pigeons when you looked in that machine in their headquarters, Jerry?
Sure. I saw everything on the yacht. The pigeons were playing.
Yeah, I thought so. And we don't dare to move them. Chances are they haven't attracted any attention. Maybe they won't. But you can bet someone is watching this boat every minute. And if anything was moved and brought in here where they couldn't see it, they'd be down for a look-see in a second.
If G47 knows all about the things these pigeons can do, and he must know it, I cannot understand how he let you keep them at all. He would know they could fly out with messages.
That worries me, too. Do you suppose they're just waiting to trap us when we use the pigeons?
They're smart enough to be at that. G47 might figure I'd try to send a pigeon out with a formula.
Joan knows all these guys and how crazy they are. What do you think about it?
It is obvious that G47 knows about the pigeons, and he would know that they were, what you called them?
Homing pigeons.
Yes, homing pigeons. But he is so scornful of nature and so secure in his own inventions that he might be careless about it.
That's possible, of course. Every man will make a mistake sometime, and this may be the one G47 will make.
Tex, how close has Johnson got to be to us before there's a good chance of these birds getting to his boat?
We'll let him get as close as possible, though these are well-trained birds, well cared for, and in the best of condition. They should make 500 miles straight as an arrow and right on schedule, providing weather conditions and other influences were favorable, of course.
How far away will these automatic alarms on the island detect a foreign object?
A large boat with motors can be located 200 miles away, an airplane 10,000 feet in the air, and even a rowboat or a swimmer 20 to 25 miles.
And these alarms are strictly automatic, operating and registering disturbances all the time?
At all times. And everything which comes within range of the alarms leaves a record on a recording device.
Gosh, this is sure a tough one.
If we get out of this one, we'll have something to tell the folks back home. And I think we'll get out sometime.
Well, how will we know when Johnson is near enough to turn loose one of the birds?
He'll keep on our radio beam, and we have a code that is simple but effective. So we'll be advised of his position at all times.
I hope these men don't get wise to the fact that receiving Johnson's apparently hopeless message is of value to us. It would be easy enough for them to block Johnson's carrier wave.
Captain Bradford, do not think me impertinent. You are a wise man, and I am only a young girl. But I would like to offer a little advice.
Your offer is gladly accepted. Advice is what we need most of.
I should figure, in your place, that G47 knows what every message you receive means to you. And the only reason he is letting you receive them is that he believes he can trap you into something which may give him access to your formula.
Oh, gee whiz, Joan. You're too scared of that old guy.
Joan has lived here all her life, Jerry. 14 of her 15 years. And she's seen many things done on this island that we couldn't even imagine.
Well, just the same, everybody's got to make a mistake. And it's old G47's turn now.
I think you may be right, Jerry, but we should be very careful.
Now, here's another place where you can be a lot of help to us, Joan. Suppose we do get a pigeon free, get one outside the fog wall, and start it north for Johnson's boat. What if they to run it down with or catch it?
The large ray guns would do it, but they are not too accurate at any great distance.
How much is a great distance to these guys?
Something less than 50 miles, I think.
That seems a long way to us, my dear.
Too far. But suppose the pigeon got away for, say, an hour and a half to 2 hours before they discovered it. Then what? These birds do 40 miles an hour.
The floor of the island would open up, and a fleet of tiny airplanes shoot out. They will fly over 500 miles an hour and stay in the air for 18 hours.
And they'd soon fly the birds down.
Our only hope is to get a pigeon out soon after dark and hope they don't discover it till daylight.
Are you sure the pigeon can find the other boat?
Yeah. Suppose he sees something else to land on. What then?
Those pigeons have been trained between these two boats and never failed. They've covered distances up to 500 miles, and I think they could do 1,000 if they had to.
And Johnson has a pair on his boat, which are trained to come to this boat, and only exhaustion would make them land on anything else.
That's right, and that's something else to worry about.
How come?
Well, if Johnson should send a pigeon before we do, the pigeon thing is exposed.
Yes, but
quiet, here's Johnson.
J24Y. J12 calling Bradford on J24Y. Can you hear me, J24Y? No signal from you. Your beam may be broken by a storm. I am using land relay. Storm directly on Los Angeles beam to last position you gave me. Stand by for location of storm center. Try to reach me through land relay.
Quiet now. When he gives us a location of the storm center, that will be his own position. He's telling us in code how near his boat is to us.
Advise you try directional beam to coast of Chile. Ask them relay to me. Storm center. Can you hear me? Storm center is...
48 hours on the Magic Island. 48 hours in this strange scientific colony called Euclidia. The cabins of the Gregory yacht are now completely lined with the sound and light-proof cloth of the island. The Gregory party can talk in privacy, as the delicate recording instruments of the scientists cannot penetrate the opaque cloth of their own manufacture. G47, mad genius of the island, has allowed Mrs. Gregory, her daughter, and friends to remain aboard their yacht, tied to the island. Captain Bradford, Mrs. Gregory, Joan, and Jerry are grouped in the radio cabin of the yacht. It is midnight, their third midnight at the island.
Well, what do you think of your new suit, Jerry?
Oh, it's all right, I guess, but Mrs. Gregory isn't so hot as a tailor.
I'm sorry, Jerry, but it will do for our purpose.
You look quite nice in a suit of Euclidean kelp cloth, I think, Jerry.
There you are, Jerry. Joan likes it, so you're all right.
Oh, I don't care much how it looks, just so as it does the trick.
There isn't any other way to get the pigeon into the cabin here without someone on Euclidia noticing it.
Are you so sure, Captain Bradford, that this pigeon will fly to the other boat and find it?
I never knew one of these birds to fail yet.
I wish we'd hear from Johnson again. How close do you figure him to be now, Tex?
He's not more than 700 or 800 miles, and likely making about 40 knots now. He'll be slowing up as he gets nearer to try and discover what's wrong with us before he runs into needless danger himself.
He'd never dream the sort of place we're prisoners on. And with G47 blocking our radio beam, we haven't a thing but the homing pigeons to warn him with.
What message will you send with the pigeon, Captain?
I'll have to send instructions about my formula. It is the only thing to attack the island with.
But suppose the pigeon goes to the wrong boat or makes to land someplace. Then your formula will be in someone else's hands.
No matter who gets what I send, any country in the world would come to our aid here. Remember that our escape will probably mean the only chance there is of saving the entire world from scientific conquest by these madmen.
Joan, dear, what do you think their attitude would be if they should take over the world? Are they criminals or merely power mad?
I think they are mad for power. Selfish ambition to rule over and terrorize people. They speak of people in your world as dumb animals, only fit to do the bidding of the Euclideans.
Then I'm afraid the world would be just a gigantic laboratory for them to experiment with.
I think that, Mother. And I know they plan to put machines at work in place of human brains, to experiment on people as they do now on animals, and rule the world by science.
Nice people to meet on a dark night. Golly, but we've got a job ahead of us. If we can only get off this crazy island and destroy it, we can really save the world.
This is war, Jerry, and a war that means freedom for the civilized people of the world. We've got to win. Our lives mean very little at a time like this.
Our lives will mean plenty to the rest of the world if we can just keep alive long enough to get this message through to Johnson.
Ready for me to bring the pigeon in now?
Might as well, Jerry. Now look, try to act natural standing in front of the coat, and look all around carefully. When you are sure no one is looking, slip the pigeon inside your suit and come back in here.
Wait, Jerry. Be sure the warning light in the center of the island is not burning. That will mean the electrical eyes on the island are not working. The fog will not be magnetized, and only the long beam signals will be sweeping the ocean outside the fog ring.
You're a great help, my dear. You remember everything.
We on Euclidia are well trained in observation.
Okay, Jerry, go to it. Watch your step and go slowly and naturally, both going and coming back.
Right. I'll take my time.
Now, Joan, you know more about this island than we do. What do you think Jerry's chances are to get that pigeon and return here without being seen?
He will undoubtedly be seen, but there is a possibility that no one will notice him taking the pigeon from its usual place and slipping it under his coat.
And you are sure this cloth will keep the islanders from seeing he is carrying anything unusual under his coat?
If he is not stopped and searched because he's wearing the special cloth suit, no one will see through it.
Oh, Tex, we should have thought of that. Of course there'll be a guard on the yacht, and he'll stop Jerry and question him about that suit.
Got to chance it.
But G47 promised to outfit us completely in the cloth tomorrow. Then we could have done this without arousing any suspicion.
You are right, Mother. It would have been much wiser to wait until tomorrow night to try and get the pigeon from the stern of the yacht.
I know it would from a detection angle, but we can't afford waiting till tomorrow night.
Why not, Tex? Johnson will have the other boat much nearer then, and the pigeons would reach it easily and quickly.
Exactly, and Johnson would also be reached easily and quickly by the devices they have here on this mad island.
That is also true, Captain. Your other boat will be in danger of being reported on these delicate instruments of G-47s when it is within 200 miles.
That was stupid of me, wasn't it, Tex?
No, this is enough to mix anyone up. We'll all think together.
Naturally, we must get word to Johnson while he's still out of range of their detectives. But, Joan, you said the Euclideans watched our yacht all the way from the coast of California to this island, 4,000 miles. How then is Johnson safe to within 200 miles?
They were watching for you to sail. When they use the universal prism reflectors with full power on a narrow focus, they have a range of 8,000 miles. But the object must be in daylight, and the apparatus is strictly directional.
Good. Then at night, and Johnson will be running down the same time zone we lie in, at night all they use is a general wide-range detector. And this is no good beyond 200 miles?
That is right, Captain.
Then the quicker we get the pigeon off to Johnson, the better. As our plans might go for nothing, even if the bird made the boat, but Johnson was caught.
Yes, Mother. G-47 would send out a submarine or stratoplane and destroy him before daylight.
Have you the message all written out, Tex?
This tiny roll of paper contains all the information Johnson needs. That is, all he will need for the present. If this gets through, it's a matter of routine to finish the job.
This pigeon must get through, Tex. I feel that we'd never be given a second chance. It's now or never.
I got him all right, and not a soul was anywhere near the yacht.
But that yellow haze, how could you see through it?
They are not using the sub-ultraviolet fog tonight. It is too difficult to generate and uses up too much of the supply of gas. They only use it in time of danger.
Or when they want to impress someone with their tricks, as they did when we landed. All right, we'd better lose no time now. Handle the pigeon carefully, kid.
Right.
They're mighty sensitive about how they're handled.
Oh, what a nice little bird. It doesn't seem possible that it could fly as fast and as far as you say.
Homing pigeons are very wonderful, my dear, and they seldom fail.
Now hold him gently but firmly, Jerry, while I tie this roll of paper on his leg. I'm using Euclidean cloth thread, so there's no danger of any magnetic force holding this little fellow back.
How do I let him go?
Better just walk around the deck again. Take a turn all the way around. Then when you stroll slowly up near the stern on the starboard side, just open your coat and let it out. Then keep on walking. Take another turn of the boat if it seems natural, and don't hurry back in here.
Will that message not blow off in the wind?
Not the way Tex is tying it on. He's tied too many of them.
No, sir. This note will stay with the pigeon till Johnson takes it off.
Are you sure the pigeon can find the other boat in the dark?
They've been trained as much in night flying as in day.
They'll do it easily enough, but this one won't have to. It ought to be daylight when he reaches the boat.
But how will Mr. Johnson catch it without hurting it?
There's a coat on Johnson's boat to which this bird has been trained to fly. The door will be open, and the bird goes in. That's all there is to it.
I wish we knew exactly where Johnson was. It would be a shame to start the poor little cruiser off with its goal out of reach.
No danger of that if Johnson's last position was correct, and he keeps coming at 40 knots or better.
There he is, Jerry. Handle him gently. Do just as I told you. And if you should meet anyone, you're just going for a walk. Someone is likely patrolling the pier along the yacht rail.
Be careful, Jerry.
I will. Don't worry so much.
Better button up your coat. It's loose enough so it won't crush the bird. And let your arms swing naturally as you walk around the deck. Good luck, kid.
Well, here I go again. Now, don't worry about anything.
Oh, Tex.
Don't be nervous, Pat. It's out of our hands now.
Jerry will do it right, Mother. He's a very clever boy.
I know that, dear, but it's such a strain. We've been tied up to this ghastly island just over 48 hours now. And it seems like a lifetime.
No good to worry about it, Pat. You and Joan better go to your own cabin and get some rest as soon as Jerry gets the pigeon started.
How long will it be before we get an answer?
Well, that all depends on...
J24Y. J12C calling J24Y.
Hold it. There's Johnson now. At least they haven't stopped the incoming beams.
J12 to J24Y. Hello, J24. J12C reporting. No signal from you. Land stations report they cannot raise you. Taking chance this getting through to you. Storm warning. Storm center near your last reported position. May be reason you cannot get signal to me. Serious storm is reported moving directly north of you. Storm moving south at terrific speed. Present storm center 17 degrees south. If you are getting my signal, advise you run out of storm course. Land stations report all radio channels near you blocked by some terrific electrical disturbance. If you can hear me, run for it. Storm center, 17 degrees south. Confirm if you can hear me. That is all. Johnson on J12C.
Oh, Tex, he's coming fast, isn't he?
I'll say he is. 17 degrees south, eh? And we're only 29.
Then he's just 12 degrees north of us.
I'm so excited I can't figure it out in my head. You got a pencil, Tex?
Yeah, and I'm using it for that same little thing.
I've got it figured, Mother.
You have?
You mentally converted degrees into miles that fast?
Of course, that is simple. Oh, I did not use the fractions, but there are approximately 69 statute or land miles to a degree at this latitude.
Joan, you know the conversion tables by memory?
You certainly got an education on this island. There isn't one person in 100 who could figure that in their head, even if they knew the conversion tables.
12 degrees at 69 miles to a degree is 828 miles.
Then if Johnson is making 40 knots an hour or more...
He's making plenty more. He said storm traveling south at terrific speed. And terrific speed with Johnson means all the boat will do. And the Pigeon will make 40 going to meet him if the wind is favorable.
Then they should meet in less than 5 hours.
Right you are. Johnson will have that message at daylight.
But suppose G47 has figured out Johnson's code. What if he knows that every time Johnson reported the storm center, he was giving his own position?
He's sure to know it. For one thing, his own radio beam will tell him there is no storm. He knows Johnson's coming, and he wants him to keep on coming, so he can capture that boat also. As he probably knows, most of our equipment is on it.
But if Johnson is captured, we can do nothing.
Don't worry, dear. That Pigeon will get to Johnson's boat 300 or 400 miles from here. And Johnson will turn and run out of the danger the minute he reads the message.
Oh, boy. Everything's swell. Not a soul was on our side of the island, and the Pigeon took off into the north side of the fog like a bullet after he'd fluttered around a minute and got his bearings.
Oh, Mother, the Pigeon really got away.
I'll say he got away.
And it won't be long till we all get away.
Exploring Tomorrow. And now, here is your guide to these adventures of the mind, John Campbell.
When men start a new project, it starts with a plan. The plan has to be carried out, worked through, the details arranged for. You don't have any trouble until the thing you did not expect turns up. So far, human research has achieved an unmanned satellite in space. The sole purpose of any of these devices, any machine, is to serve human beings. The machine goes first to try things out, but the sole purpose of doing it is so that men can follow. And women, too. But there are problems of purely human nature that sometimes complicate the most scientific of plans.
Champagne. Oh, there you are, my dearest. My darling, my love, champagne.
Oh, good heavens, Jeff. You think we were getting married all over again?
Oh, why not? Let's make this our second wedding day. A celebration to end all celebrations. Besides, it is almost our first anniversary. Happy almost first anniversary, Lieutenant Alice.
Oh, no. No, if this is going to be a late wedding feast, you must call me Mrs. Captain Jeffrey Britton. I demand my rights as a legally wedded wife, even if you do outrank me.
Don't giggle. It's not proper for an officer in the United States Space Service to giggle. And for goodness sake, don't tell me the champagne bubbles tickle your nose.
Oh, they don't. I love the stuff. Pour me another.
Another, my dear Mrs. Britton. That was the finest half pint of domestic champagne available, which is all a mere captain can afford. There is no more.
For shame. The finest rocket pilot in the United States, and you can't even afford another bottle?
No, not even for a going-away party.
Oh, Jeff. It is a going-away party, isn't it? I won't see you for 6 months.
Now, come on, sweetheart. Don't cloud up and rain. It's good duty, and you'll be back soon. 6 months isn't forever, you know.
Oh, I know. But being stuck up on an artificial satellite for 6 months without you isn't my idea of fun.
Oh, look, sweetheart, you'll like it up there. It's the oldest and biggest of our manned space stations. It has plenty of room inside and a crew of 400 officers and men. It even rotates on its axis to give you artificial gravity. At least you don't have to worry about space sickness.
Oh, Jeff, don't be so serious. It's not the fact that I have to be up there that bothers me. It's just that I'm going to miss you.
Ah, I thank you so much for that. I'll miss you, too. But there's nothing we can do about it.
How right you are. The Space Service has no use whatsoever for personal feelings. Except, of course, that they hope you don't get killed. Do you know what?
I give up what?
I was shown an instruction film. Told all about Space Station 1. You know, how safe it is. Did you know that every compartment has individual heating and oxygen supply in case of emergency? And did you know that all the walls are filled with a plastic self-sealing compound like a car tire, so that if a small meteor hits it, it won't lose too much air?
Well, sure, it's safe. 1,000 miles straight up over Earth, and you're as safe as in your bed at home.
Hooray for safety! And now, my dear cheapskate husband, will you do me the favor of buying me another bit of champagne? Or will I have to buy it myself?
Oh, darling, this is our last night together for 6 months. So I suppose I'll have to buy more champagne. Hey, waiter!
Nurse Jenkins, send in Lieutenant Britton.
She'll be right in, Doctor.
You wanted to see me, Major James?
I certainly do. Being medical officer of Space Station 1 isn't an easy job under any circumstances. But you have made it 10 times as difficult.
I didn't mean to cause you any trouble, sir.
Well, you certainly have. I just got the laboratory report. The test was positive.
It was? Oh, that's wonderful.
Wonderful? What do you mean, wonderful?
Well,
My dear Lieutenant Britton, has it escaped your fluttery female mind that you were in Space Station 1 in an orbit more than 1,000 miles from the surface of Earth? Have you forgotten that?
No, sir.
Well, if I had Captain Britton up here, I'd personally break his neck, but he's not. He's safe down on Earth while you're the one who's going to have the baby.
Major James, neither my husband nor I intended this to happen.
Of course not, but it did, nevertheless. Oh. I suppose it's not your fault, Lieutenant, but it leaves me in an awkward position. What are we going to do? This is a space satellite, not an obstetrics ward. I have neither the drugs nor the equipment to take care of you.
Of course not. You'll have to send me back down to Earth when the next rocket leaves.
What? You've been up here 2 months now, and your baby is due in another 7 months. Do you think I would risk sending you down to Earth in a rocket at 9 gravities of acceleration? Not at this stage of the game, Lieutenant.
How can I stay here?
There's nothing else you can do. I'll have to contact the hospital at White Sands Rocket Base and have them send up the equipment I need on the regular supply rockets. Whether we like it or not, you'll be staying with us for a while. And we're going to have to take very good care of you. Exploring Tomorrow continues in just a moment.
This is Bill Goodwin. You know, someone once said humor is the true democracy. And that's why we Americans can smile when we tell the stories of the legendary heroes who helped to build our country's great institutions and industries. Like Bowleg Bill, hero of the tuna fishing industry. Back in Provincetown, Massachusetts, they claimed that when it came to hauling in the horse mackerel, as the Easterners call tuna, Bill could handle 2 gaffs at once and catch more than any 6 men put together. And they're still talking about the time Bill caught old Slick Britches, the biggest horse mackerel of them all. No one could ever get his hooks into Slick Britches, who weighed 2,000 pounds and had a tail 6 feet long. But Bowleg Bill promised to land him single-handed. He set out in his boat, Toss-Up, and when he spotted Slick Britches, he made a grab for him, but the tuna slipped through his hands. So Bill dove over the side, and before folks knew what had happened, Bill was sitting astride old Slick Britches, who was bucking like a bronco. He leaped almost a mile out of the water, but Bill hung on. All over the harbor they went, jumping and leaping, but still Bill hung on. Fast leap over the Toss-Up, and then calmed down, all the fight gone out of him. Bill steered him toward shore, but all of a sudden he headed him back out to sea, slapped the tuna's tail, and jumped off. Now, folks were mighty disappointed when Slick Britches disappeared, but it was like Bill told them. There's nothing that'll break a cowhand's heart so quick as to find a critter with the ruff all rode off at the first mount. Yes, sir, it is a democracy which lets us tell the stories of such a legendary character as Bowleg Bill with a twinkle in our eyes and a chuckle in our throats. And so long as we continue to laugh together as a people, ladies and gentlemen, we will live together as a nation.
Alice had called attention to the fact that the space station had not been adequately designed. It had been designed all right to take care of men and of women, but taking care of human individuals is not enough if we are to really enter the space stage. We have to take care of the human race. That's something Alice was bringing to attention.
Here's some more of the laboratory reports on Lieutenant Alice Britton, Doctor.
Oh, yes, from her last checkup. How is she doing, nurse?
Seems to be doing quite well, Doctor. The light gravity is helping, I think.
Oh, only 59 days to go. Less than 2 months, if our figuring is correct. I have nearly all the equipment I need now, and by the time she's ready, it'll all be here.
I've been checking it off the list as the supply rockets unload each piece. You don't have far to go.
You know, nurse, 5 months ago when I found out that Lieutenant Britton was going to have a baby, I was really worried. But now it looks as though there's going to be nothing to it. One of the doctors from White Sands Rocket Base is coming up next month to help, and everything ought to go pretty smoothly. But I was sure worried for a while.
Why were you worried, Doctor?
After all, women aren't supposed to go around having babies in space stations.
Well, it looks as though Lieutenant Britton is going to set a precedent.
Good heavens, I hope not. If all the women in the Space Service get that idea, we'll be running a nursery up here, not a fueling
Well,
station.
you'll just have to.
Emergency signal. There's been an accident.
Phone, Doctor.
Yeah, I'll get it. Sick ward, Major James speaking. What? Have you got her out of there? Well, then put her on the stretcher and get her to Ward 3. I'll be right down.
What happened, Doctor?
A small meteorite hit Section 6, and Lieutenant Britton was in there when it happened. They're bringing her up now, but there's no way of knowing how badly she's hurt. Be careful. Easy now.
Oh.
Now put the stretcher down on the bed.
Oh.
Easy. That's it, yeah. Now just take it easy, Lieutenant. All right, men. She'll be all right now. Thanks. Close the door, huh, please.
Oh. I hurt all over.
You'll be okay. Nurse Jenkins will bring down a hypo in a few minutes. You'll be all right.
I think I'll live, Major. But my ears are still ringing.
Well, you must have lost air. Can you tell me what happened?
I was in Section 6 checking some meters. All of a sudden, bam! A little meteor punctured the outer wall. Just a little bit of rock the size of a marble. But it was moving fast enough to put a hole in the wall.
It sure was. Then what?
And I wasn't hit. The air started going out into the vacuum of space. The wall is self-sealing, but a lot of air left the room before the hole closed. The automatic door closed. My ears were ringing. Everything got fuzzy. I guess I fainted.
You're lucky the meteor was small and moving fairly slowly. Sealing compound in the wall closed the hole before you lost too much air, really. Your nose isn't bleeding. You haven't got the bends, at least.
No, but I'm afraid the baby's going to be here sooner than we expected.
Yes, it looks like it. Now, don't worry. 7-month babies are just as good as 9-month ones. And you're a pretty healthy girl. You'll be all right. And so will the baby.
I know we will. Take care of us, will you, Major?
Sure. Don't worry. That's what I'm here for. Remember? How is she, nurse?
Gave her a hypo. She'll be able to relax a little. She's lucky to be alive.
It's not all luck. Everything worked automatically. That's what saved her.
Oh, she's all right now. You want me to prepare the room next to hers as a delivery room? We'll need it soon.
Well, that's what I was afraid of. But how soon, do you think?
Not more than an hour or two, I'd say. What's the matter, Doctor? You look worried.
Your premature baby has to have a specialized environment. An incubator. If it doesn't, its chances of survival are small, right?
Well, yes.
Well, we haven't got an incubator. The nearest one is more than 1,000 miles away. Straight down.
The plans that had been made, again, were not sufficient. You know, many times, a man who is working with machines and knows the machine in full, understands what it does and its functions, has never recognized what its basic nature is. He's too close to it. It's the forest and the trees again. And sometimes somebody who really doesn't know as much about the machine understands it better.
Major James speaking. Yes, Colonel. From where? Europe. Yes, sir. Yes, I understand, sir. Very well, Colonel. Thank you. Oh, brother, that does it.
What's the matter now, sir?
Our message to White Sands was intercepted. The newscasters have gotten hold of the story. The communications officer just picked up a broadcast from Europe. Big stuff. First baby born in space. Emergency measures being taken. The whole world knows about it now, and everybody on Earth is praying for Lieutenant Britton and her baby. Big sob story.
Oh, Doctor, you may not like all the publicity, and maybe it isn't a good thing in some ways. But personally, I'm kind of glad it happened.
Oh? But why?
Doctor, that girl may need all that praying.
Better get things ready, nurse.
How long do we have?
Half an hour at the outside. I had Nurse Bryson fix up the preliminaries. Any news?
Oh, station commander called. He said that White Sands has assigned Captain Britton to pilot the rocket that's bringing up the incubator. She'll be glad to see him. She's supposed to have gone back to her some months ago.
Yeah, it'll probably do her good to see him.
How's she feeling now?
Oh, pretty fair. I think she'll be all right. She's got a lot of nerve, that one.
She'll need every bit of nerve if she loses that baby.
I know. You don't need to remind me. We need an incubator within half an hour, and there won't be one here for 2 hours. We haven't got it, and that's that. What can I do? I've tried everything.
Can't the construction crew build one?
Well, I thought of that first thing. I called the construction officer. He told me that there isn't any spare material up here to build one out of. It costs plenty to ship stuff up here by rocket, so they only order what they absolutely need.
Isn't there anything at all?
Well, not unless they cut holes in the space station. And that's what they're doing. They're ripping out one of the partitions. They'll use a heater from a wall and the oxygen apparatus from a spacesuit. They're trying to get it finished in time.
But they won't finish in time, is that it?
That's it. They'll get done about 15 minutes before the rocket gets here. There's just no time, that's all. Now, try to take it easy, Lieutenant. Don't rush things.
Well, I'm not rushing anything.
Well, now, don't worry about anything. You'll be all right.
I know. But I wish Jess was here.
Your husband is on his way, Lieutenant. He's taking a special rocket up from White Sands.
How long will it be? We'll have to hurry.
He'll be a little late, I'm afraid. We have the delivery room all ready. It won't be long now.
I know it won't. Did you get all the stuff you needed? How about the incubator? Well?
There isn't any incubator. I didn't take the possibility of a premature delivery into account. It's all my fault. But I've done what I could. Your husband is bringing an incubator up in the rocket. It won't be too long. I think we'll be able to keep the child in good health until he gets here. Lieutenant Britton. Alice, this is no time to get hysterical. Stop it.
I'm not hysterical, Doctor. You are. Look at you. You're so nervous. You can't even think straight.
What do you mean?
Well, figure it out for yourself. Take a look around you and ask yourself, why is a space station like an incubator?
Good heavens, of course. That's it. Can I come in?
Yes. We finally made it. Come over here.
Hey, you look fine. How's it feel to be the most famous mother on earth? Huh? Or off it?
Oh, I don't care about being famous. It's wonderful just to be a mother. And how do you feel, Daddy Britton?
I'm wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Say, I brought you an incubator, but Major James said you won't need it. I asked him why, and he said he felt too foolish about it to explain. He said I should ask you. What's the story?
Well, it was very funny. Poor man was running around in circles worrying about an incubator. He had you bring one up, and I understand he had the construction crew tearing down the walls to make one.
Really?
Really. And I finally asked him, why is a space station like an incubator? And he got it right away.
Got it? Got what?
Oh, don't you see, silly? A space station is a sort of an incubator. It protects us poor, weak humans from the airlessness and extremities of temperature in space. And each room of this station is a separate compartment. They can be self-sustaining if they have to.
So what did the Major do?
We just had one whole room isolated. You raised the temperature, pumped in extra oxygen, and bingo, he had an incubator.
Well, where is my son? I want to see him.
Your daughter, dear, and she's in the next room.
Huh?
Oh, but you can't go right in. You just wait. You've got a good many years ahead of you to get acquainted with her.
All right. I guess I just have to practice getting acquainted with you. Come here.
Mm-hmm.
There's the impression that science fiction has to do with machines, and it's all about gadgets and ray guns. It isn't. That's why it's science fiction. It has to do with human beings and the problems that human beings will have with the machines we do and must live with. And if the machines aren't properly designed to recognize that their purpose is to serve humanity, they're no good either.
Heard in our cast tonight were Lawson Zerbe, Carol Teitel, and script was by Randell Garrett. Produced and directed by Sanford Martin in New York. Guy Wallace speaking. This is the world's largest network.
We pause now for station identification.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look! Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's Superman!
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from another world who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend the steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the American way. But before we join Superman, here is an important message.
Fellows and girls, have you ever seen a squadron of American bombers roaring through the air in formation? Have you seen newsreel pictures of Uncle Sam's destroyers cutting through the seas as they patrol in search of enemy subs and surface raiders? I'm sure you have. And I'll bet you were thrilled. You probably felt terribly proud, too. Well, if you've been buying war-saving stamps regularly, you have a right to be proud. Not only because those planes and those ships represent the fighting spirit of America, but because you helped to build them. Yes, sir, every time you bought a war-saving stamp, your money helped buy the labor and materials that are used to make planes and ships and equipment to knock out the Nazis and the Japs. So next time you hear some boy or girl on your block say, "Shucks, what difference can one dime make?" you tell them every dime does make a difference. It makes a big difference. Tell them, for instance, that if every boy and girl in the United States bought just one 10-cent war-saving stamp every day, it would add up to enough money to buy a lot of swift pursuit planes with which our Army and Navy forces could blast the Axis out of the air. And while you're at it, you might remind them that another way all you fellows and girls can help to win this war is to put back into circulation all the pennies and nickels you've been saving in your piggy banks and tin cans and glass jars. Because, as you know, when you put a lot of these coins away, it causes a shortage of them. And in order to make more, the mint would have to use a lot of metals that are vital to America's war effort. Metals used to make guns and tanks and planes. So get permission tonight to break open your coin bank. Then take those coins and turn them in for war-saving stamps and bonds. In that way, you'll be doing your country a double service. Remember, a stamp a day will pave the way to victory.
And now, the adventures of Superman. As you remember, Superman and his guys of Clark Kent, together with Lois Lane, Perry White, and Jimmy Olsen, is aboard a tanker which had rammed Dr. Cameron's submarine in mid-Atlantic. Soon after boarding her, our friends discovered that although the tanker was running, there was no one aboard, except the dead captain of the vessel. In our last episode, they were shocked to find a strange person in the pilot house, an aged man dressed entirely in seaweed. The man, who appeared to be crazy, was captured by Kent, securely bound, and left there while they continued their investigation of the strange ship. Later, when our friends returned to the pilot house to question the old man... But wait, listen.
There's the man lying on the floor.
The strange old man, dressed entirely in seaweed. Clark, do you really think he's the old man of the seaweed?
Well, it's fairly obvious, Lois. Also, it's apparent, according to the ship's log, that he's the man who killed the captain.
Not only killed him, but sat him at the head of the table in the dining saloon.
Seems pretty clear to me that he's the man behind this mystery. He ought to be able to tell us everything we want to know. What happened to the crew of this ship, how come it was running all by itself, and everything else we want to know.
Yes, I think he'll be able to tell us a great deal. Not moving, just lying on the floor there where we left him.
Yeah, probably passed out.
Well, we'll soon wake him up. All right, friend, snap out of it. Come on, now. What in the world?
Clark, what is it?
Oh, great heavens. I went to pick him up by the collar, and look.
Mr. Kent, you're just holding a big bunch of seaweed in your hand. There's no man there at all.
Good heavens. What I thought was a man is nothing but a pile of seaweed.
This is ghastly. Clark, we must be dreaming.
You're right, Lois. This is a dream, a horrible nightmare. I see Ken standing there holding a pile of seaweed in his hand. A pile of seaweed we thought was a man. But he's not really there. We're just out of our...
Hold on. Take it easy, all of you. I am here. This is a pile of wet seaweed I'm holding in my hand, and this whole business is anything but a dream. It's true, every bit of it.
But it doesn't make sense, Mr. Kent. It doesn't add up. What's it all mean?
I don't know yet, but there must be a logical, sensible solution to it. You can depend on that.
Great heavens, Clark, you always say the same thing.
Well, that's true, Lois, but remember, he's usually right.
But this, it's impossible. 10 minutes ago, we captured that thing you're holding in your hand, and in it we thought was a man. An old...
No, Lois. But you realize what's happened here?
Well, what do you mean, Kent?
Because we find a pile of seaweed here now, you assume that was all we had before. The reason you feel that way, we just imagined the old man was dressed in seaweed, is because you're letting the mystery of this ship get you down. Actually, we did capture a man who was dressed in this costume. Somehow, he's managed to escape while we were in the captain's cabin going over the log.
Oh, I get it. The guy comes to, unties himself, slips out of that suit of seaweed, and takes it on the lam.
Inelegantly put, Jim, but that's about it.
Oh, golly, what do we do now?
We search the ship until we find the man again. Now, Jim, you stay here.
Stay here? Well, golly, no. I want to search the ship with the rest of you.
This isn't a game, Jim. It's a very serious business. I want you to stay here and keep that foghorn going. We're in a very dense fog, and there's no telling what might ram us.
Okay, I'll stay if that's the way I can help.
Lois, Mr. White, you come with me.
Well, think we dare leave Jimmy here alone, Kent? The old man of the seaweed might get to him and...
Oh, we'll take care of that. Now, Jim, when we leave here, I want you to lock yourself in. Lock both the doors leading to this pilot house and also the door leading into the captain's cabin. You ought to be safe enough.
Oh, don't worry about me. I can protect myself.
Good boy. All right, let's go.
I'll start that foghorn going right now.
All right, Jim. Now, lock the door, Jim.
Okay.
Hey, Kent, I suggest we split up. We can search the ship in double quick time that way.
All right, but one of us had better stay with Lois. She's no match for the old man of the seaweed in case she meets up with him.
That's so. I can handle myself pretty well, if you please, Mr. Kent. And I'm not handicapped as you are by being afraid of my own shadow.
I don't doubt it, Lois, but I still think one of us should stay with you. How about it, Chief? Suppose you and Lois search the fore part of the ship while I go aft.
All right with me, if you're not afraid to go it alone.
Well, I'm not pleased by it, but there's nothing else to be done. I'll see you later in the pilot house. If you find our man, yell out.
Yeah, as usual. All right, Lois, we'll tackle the crew's quarters first. Down this companionway and keep your eyes open.
Don't worry about me, Mr. White.
And, you know, I'm so confused I hardly know which way to turn or what to do next. That portion of the captain's log that Kent read to us keeps going through my head.
Mine, too. I keep trying not to believe the part about the first mate seeing the old man of the seaweed crawl aboard out of the sea. And yet I don't know.
No, I'm sure I don't either. Here, down this corridor here.
You know, it just occurred to me, Mr. White, if the old man should happen on Dr. Cameron's assistant, Nicodemus, who's guarding the dead cats in the dining saloon, it'll frighten him half to death.
It certainly will, but we've no time to warn him of that now. I think the crew's quarters are just the other side of that door. Let's go in.
Dark in here, isn't it? I better snap on the light if I can find it.
Yes, I'll close the door.
Oh, here's the light switch. Well, this place seems to be deserted just like the rest of the ship.
Never can tell. You better search thoroughly. The bunks, the lockers, everything.
Yeah.
Don't bother.
What?
I'm standing behind
Great
you.
Scott.
White, he must have been standing behind the door when we opened it.
Yeah.
Exactly, miss. Exactly.
It's the old man of the seaweed. I could never forget that face.
Look, that wicked-looking knife in his hand.
Wicked and effective, for I am an expert at throwing.
Missed me. But I thought the breeze from it, nevertheless.
Oh, look out. He's picking up a heavy wrench. He's going to come for you with that.
In which case, I'd better throw this chair.
Surely, Mr. Cameron, he's still coming.
I have nothing to defend myself with.
Oh, you murderer. You hit him with that wrench.
I told you I was an expert at throwing. And now, miss, it's your turn.
You stay away from me. Stay away, you loathsome, disgusting. Let go. Take your hands off me. Take your hands off me.
Your turn now. I'll get rid of you just as I got rid of the captain and his crew. Down the corridor here. And then down these stairs to the engine room. There. And now, miss, no one can hear you down here, so I'll just take my hand from your mouth. You beast. Now, don't fight. It'll do you no good. I'm crazy. Or so they say. So it'll do you no good to struggle. I'll bind your hands with these cords I have with me.
No!
You see, it does you no good to fight.
Oh!
Your hands are bound. And now to bind your ankles so that you can't move.
You loathsome...
There. Kick me, would you? Your ankles are tied. And now, miss, you can lie here and watch while I turn on the motor.
What are you going to do? What horrible thing are you planning?
Planning? I am no longer planning.
What do you mean?
It is already planned. The first thing I do is to throw this lever which sets the ship's motors in action.
How are you doing?
So, that does it. And now, miss, let me call your attention to the machinery. You see those huge pistons? You see them moving upward and forward and then backward and downward, like the drive wheels on a locomotive? You see them?
I see them, yes.
Well, once a man fell from that catwalk up there. Need I say what happened to him?
Those pistons driving up and down. Oh, no.
Ah, yes. You kicked me. I told you you'd pay for it. And now is the time.
No, put me down. You can't do a horrible thing like this. Let go of me.
Let go of you, but not before I've thrown you. I told you I was an expert at throwing, and I'm aiming you for that spot right under the downcoming piston. And here you go.
No, my friend, here you go.
Superman?
Oh, she's fainted. Well, this gives me a chance to return to my disguise of Clark Kent.
Oh.
Just in time, too.
Superman. Clark, what are you doing here?
Well, I just came down here on a hunch, you might say. A hunch that the old man we're looking for was here, and sure enough, I find him out like a light, and you lying here in a faint.
Gracious. I guess I must have been unconscious for some time.
I guess you must have.
Clark, that man lying there. It was horrible.
What?
He was going to... Oh, I can't bear to think of it.
What do you mean?
Superman arrived just in time to knock him out and save me.
Well, lucky for you. Hey, by the way, where's Mr. White?
Mr. White? I'd forgotten about him. He's in the crew's quarters.
In the crew's quarters?
Yes, this man knocked him out with a large wrench.
We'd better get to him and see if he's all right. Oh, but wait a minute. First, I'll turn off these engines before we're pulled off our anchor here. Well, I'll find which one is the right lever. No, I think this is the lever here. Yeah. Now, let's see. Uh-huh. That was it, all right. Well, that does that. Come on, let's see about White.
All right, but wait a minute.
What?
What about that man lying there?
Well, you said Superman hit him, and if I remember correctly, when Superman hits him, they stay put for a time. There's no need to worry about him. Come on.
Stay where you are.
What the...
Throw up your hands and don't budge, or I'll shoot to kill.
Well, what new development is taking place in our mystery now? Although they thought the mystery ship deserted, our friends found first the old man of the seaweed, and now another stranger. Who can this be? This is truly the most baffling riddle Superman has ever been up against. Why not match your wits with his and see if you can solve it before he does? Be sure to be with us tomorrow for another thrill-packed episode with plenty of puzzles and surprises. Listen, in fact, every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station. Tune in and follow the adventures of Superman. By all means, don't forget to tune in to Superman tomorrow for another thrilling and exciting episode. And don't forget to talk to Mother and Dad before you go to bed tonight about making arrangements to buy war-saving stamps regularly. Start the day off right tomorrow. Buy at least one 10-cent war-saving stamp first thing after breakfast. Remember what I told you at the beginning of this program. Every single dime is important because all our dimes put together can go a long way to help pay for the guns and tanks and planes and ships we need to knock out the Nazis and Japs. And say, here's an idea for you. Why don't you get together with your friends tomorrow and make a joint pledge to buy war-saving stamps every time you've got a dime? See which of you can buy the most war-saving stamps every week and every month. And that way you'll help Uncle Sam smash the Axis. You'll be doing your share to win this war.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look! Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's Superman!
Follow the adventures of Superman every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station. Superman is directed by George Lothar and is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine. This is Mutual.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look! Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's Superman!
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from another world who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the American way. But before we join Superman, here is an important message.
Fellows and girls, have you ever seen a squadron of American bombers roaring through the air in formation? Have you ever seen newsreel pictures of Uncle Sam's destroyers cutting through the seas as they patrol in search of enemy subs and surface raiders? Well, I'm sure you have. And I bet you were thrilled. You probably felt terribly proud, too. Well, if you've been buying war-saving stamps regularly, you have a right to be proud. Not only because those planes and those ships represent the fighting spirit of America, but because you helped to build them. Yes, sir, every time you bought a war-saving stamp, your money helped buy the labor and materials that are used to make planes and ships and equipment, to knock out the Nazis and the Jets. So next time you hear some boy or girl on your block say, "Shucks, what difference can one dime make?" Well, you tell them every dime does make a difference. It makes a big difference. Tell them, for instance, that if every boy and girl in the United States bought just one 10-cent war-saving stamp every day, it would add up to enough money to buy a lot of swift pursuit planes with which our Army and Navy forces could blast the Axis out of the air. And while you're at it, you might remind them that another way all you fellows and girls can help win this war is to put back into circulation all the pennies and nickels you've been saving in your piggy banks and tin cans and glass jars. Because, as you know, when you put a lot of these coins away, it causes a shortage of them. And in order to make more, the Mint would have to use a lot of metals that are vital to America's war effort. Metals used to make guns and tanks and planes. So get permission tonight to break open your coin bank and then take those coins and turn them in for war-saving stamps and bonds. Now, in that way, you'll be doing your country a double service. So remember, a stamp a day will pave the way to victory.
And now, the adventures of Superman. As you remember, Superman and his guides of Clark Kent and his companions in adventure are now trying to solve the weird riddle of the mystery ship, a tanker which rammed their own vessel in mid-Atlantic and which later they discovered to be deserted. Many adventures have befallen our friends aboard the derelict tanker, and in our last episode we heard how Superman saved Lois from the murderous hands of a strange little man known as the Old Man of the Seaweed, who had previously knocked Perry White unconscious. As our last episode ended, Clark Kent and Lois Lane were just leaving the engine room to go to Mr. White in the crew's quarters when suddenly... But wait, listen.
Don't move.
What's the...
Throw up your hands. Don't move or I'll shoot to kill.
Clark, look. A man dressed in the naval flyer's uniform.
Who are you?
Lieutenant Saunders, United States Navy. Who are you? What are you doing down here?
For a moment there, I thought we'd got ourselves into more trouble.
I wouldn't be too sure you haven't. Who are you?
I think I'm just beginning to get this. Lieutenant, I'm Clark Kent, and this is Lois Lane. If I'm not mistaken, we're the people you've come to rescue.
Oh, of course. My men and I just arrived in the patrol bomber. The rest of my crew are going over the ship now.
Oh.
Just what's been going on here? Who's that man lying
He's
there?
a madman. He was going to kill me.
It's a long story, Lieutenant, and I'm a little worried about another member of our party, Editor Perry White. He was struck down by this madman here and may be badly hurt.
I see. Well, you'd better get to your friend at once. This fellow looks as if he won't be coming to for some time, I should say. Well, we'll come back from later. Come along up these companionway stairs.
A short time later, in the captain's cabin, Lieutenant Saunders and the others listened to Clark Kent's story. When Kent has finished, Saunders sits silently for a time, studying the strange entry in the captain's log. Slowly, an odd look comes over his face, and he shakes his head in puzzlement. Clark Kent speaks.
What is it, Lieutenant? Is something wrong?
I don't think it's anything, Clark, except Lieutenant Saunders finds this mystery as baffling as we do.
Boy, that entry in the captain's log where he says the Old Man of the Seaweed is coming toward him laughing horribly, that sure makes your hair stand up.
Yes, I know all that. Fantastic, of course, but, well, it's nothing to what I'm going to tell you. You see, I know something you don't know, something that further complicates the mystery.
Oh, golly. Could it be any more complicated than it is?
Yes, I'm afraid it can, Jimmy. Let me tell you what I mean. About 7 months ago, while on routine patrol, we picked up an SOS. We headed for the spot where the ship was going down. The radio signals became weaker and finally died away altogether. Last message we received was, "We are sinking fast. Hurry. Water rising in radio room." That was the last we heard. Well, we reached the spot given by the radio operator, and, well, there was no ship in sight. Evidently, she had gone down before we could get there.
Well, what's all that got to do with us, Lieutenant?
Well, just this, Mr. Kent. The ship that had apparently gone down was this very ship.
What?
Jeepers.
Oh, just a minute.
I know it sounds more than fantastic, but get this. The ship was named the Albatross, just like this one. She was a tanker, just like this one. And she was bound east for Liverpool, and so was this one, according to the ship's papers.
Oh, even so, there's a chance there might be another ship by that name going to the same place.
Yeah, I thought of that. However, Kent, one thing cinches it. The captain's name was Brenner, Captain Robert Brenner. And that was the name of the captain of this vessel.
But golly, if this is the same ship, then... Well, then there must be such things as ghost ships.
No, not necessarily, Jim. Lieutenant Saunders and his men didn't actually see the ship go down. They merely assumed she had.
Yeah, that's right, Ken. I don't believe in ghosts and such things myself, so I'm more than willing to believe that the ship did not go down. But, well, what happened to her in the meantime?
Well, the log certainly doesn't tell us.
Yeah, well, it's a mystery, all right, and simply has to be solved. My job is done, however. I'll leave some of my crew aboard until we can send a vessel out to escort this ship into port. You people will return to the naval base with me.
Well, what are you going to do about the Old Man of the Seaweed, Lieutenant Saunders?
I really can't say, Jim. We've got him in irons, of course, and he does seem to be insane. Still, he's our only clue, our only live clue at any rate. The best thing to do is to take him back to the base and let my commanding officer decide what's to be done about him.
How will we get back to Metropolis from the naval base?
Oh, well, that's easy, Miss Lane. The Clipper makes the base a regular port of call. Matter of fact, I think I can get you back just in time to make the next Clipper. We'd better hurry, though.
Let's get going, then. Why so glum, Clark? You look as if you've lost your last friend.
I just can't help wishing we had solved the mystery of this ship before leaving it.
No, it would take Superman to solve this mystery, and you're no Superman.
No, I suppose not. Well, let's go.
Leaving the mystery ship in the fog-shrouded night, our friends board the Navy patrol bomber and soon reach the United States Naval Base. An hour later, they board the clipper for Metropolis and are soon winged through sunlit skies bound west for the great city. So far as they know, the mystery of the Albatross, though unsolved, is at an end. Little do they realize it is only beginning, for as chance would have it. But wait, let's look in on our friends in the lounge of the clipper.
What a wonderful, wonderful sight. Don't you think so, Clark?
What, Lois? I wasn't listening.
Look through the slanted windows. Look, that limitless expanse of blue-green ocean stretching as far as the eye can see.
Yes, I was sort of staring at it and thinking about the albatross.
Gosh, Mr. Kent, I don't think there'll ever be an answer to that mystery.
Oh, yes, there will, Jim. There's never been a mystery yet that didn't have an answer. Usually, the more complicated the mystery, the simpler the answer.
I hope you're right. But I stick to what I said before. There's only one person who could solve this mystery, and that is Superman himself.
Down, Doctor! Down, I say!
Oh, who's coming into the lounge?
It's a man. It's golly, a Great Dane.
Great Dane? I didn't know dogs was permitted aboard planes.
Well, evidently this one was. It looks as if he's someone of importance. As a matter of fact,
golly, he's sure having trouble with that dog. What's that he's got around his neck?
That's what's known as a choke collar, Jim. When you pull on it, it chokes and subdues the dog. When used correctly, it's quite all right, but when used with the force he's using now, it's very inhumane.
I wouldn't think a man who looks like that would maltreat an animal.
Oh.
He looks quite distinguished, really. Short beard, monocle, and very, very British.
That's too, Cordelia! Do it, you fool! All right, they're asking for this.
Look, he's strangling that animal. Well, don't sit there. Do something.
I don't like you to say, Lois.
Oh,
Devil take you blasted hound!
Clark Kent, when you get a backbone, let me know.
But, Lois...
All right, if you won't do anything about it, I will. Just a moment, there. What in the world do you think you're doing to that animal?
I beg your
I've
pardon?
never seen a dog so mistreated in my life.
If your understanding of this animal, madam, was a tenth as great as your anger, I believe you speak in a different tone.
Oh, you do? Really?
That, madam, is a static remark which admits of no argument. Last you, Cordelia! Stop trying to pull everything else out of its socket! Down, I say, down!
Stop it, you hear? Now stop it. You're choking that dog to death.
Madam, this dog is a Great Dane. She weighs 150 pounds. She's a very well-behaved beast on most occasions, but now and then she must be handled this way.
No dog need be handled that way if it's master knows his business.
Oh, madam, you...
Oh, stop calling me madam. My name is Lane, Miss Lois Lane.
Oh, the reporter female, what?
Yes, and I... Wait a minute. How did you know that?
I should say every passenger aboard knows of your adventure with the mystery ship.
What's that? You mean to say that story is known to everyone aboard this plane?
I don't believe we've been properly introduced, young man.
Oh, my name is Clark Kent.
Oh, yes, of course, the reporter chap, that's right. Devilishly pleased to meet you.
You know, for a moment I thought you were... Well, that is...
Yes?
Nothing at all.
May I present myself? My name is Tresida. Sir Alfred Kenneth Tresida, Lord of Michaelsfield.
Why, of course, I've heard of you. Aren't you the man who's noted for his kennels?
I breed Great Danes, Miss Lane, and I pride myself on knowing how to treat them. Your criticism of my treatment of Cordelia distresses me no end. I assure you I have no intention of being inhumane, but really, with such as you just witnessed, there's nothing for it, you know. One is forced to adopt strict measures.
Well, I wouldn't think of criticizing anyone who knows as much about dogs as you do, Sir Alfred, but it's just that I've always heard...
Yes, I know, but quite erroneous, I assure you, quite. Down, Master Cordelia, down!
Oh, please, don't!
Please, Miss Lane, I know what I'm doing.
I know you do, but the poor animal...
Does no harm, believe me. Well, I dare say you'll have an interesting story for your paper when we reach Metropolis. The mystery ship, I mean.
Oh, no, we've been asked not to release it.
Oh, why not?
The effect on the morale of seamen, especially those who work on tankers. Sailors are superstitious, you know. Not all, that is, but many.
Oh, nonsense, Michael. That's nonsense.
Well, in any case, Sir Alfred, we won't print the story.
Well, that's your own affair, of course. Well, I'd better take Cordelia to my cabin, I suppose. It was only by the greatest luck in the exercising a good deal of influence that I was permitted to bring her with me. Good morning.
Good morning.
What? Sir Alfred's an awfully charming person, even if he does... Clark, what is the matter with you? Hey, Clark.
Mr. Kent, why are you looking after Sir Alfred that way?
That man is not Sir Alfred Tresida.
What?
I met Sir Alfred years ago when he was in America. I was a cub reporter then. He came here to lecture on the training of dogs, especially Great Danes. That man is not Sir Alfred Tresida.
But how can you be so sure?
Oh, well, Sir Alfred had a friendly, kindly face. This man's face? Oh, no, it's not the same. Then there's the dog. He brought the same Dane with him. Cordelia was her name, and she worshipped the ground he walked on. All his dogs loved him and answered his command without question. And he certainly never maltreated them the way that man did.
But if he's not Sir Kenneth Cressida. Who is he?
Yeah. And where's the realtor, Alfred?
Very interesting question. Something tells me we'd better answer them and answer them quick.
Little do our friends know that in this man with the Great Dane, they will find the answer to the weird riddle of the mystery ship. Who is this bearded, monocled man who pretends to be Sir Alfred Kenneth Cressida? And what connection has he with the mystery ship? Well, for the solution to the entire mystery, be sure to listen tomorrow. And be with us every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station. Tune in and follow The Adventures of Superman.
By all means, don't forget to tune in Superman tomorrow for another thrilling and exciting episode. And don't forget to talk to Mother and Dad before you go to bed tonight about making arrangements to buy war-saving stamps regularly. Start the day off right tomorrow. Buy at least one 10-cent war-saving stamp first thing after breakfast. Now, remember what I told you at the beginning of the program. Every single dime is important because all our dimes put together can go a long way to help pay for the guns and tanks and planes and ships we need to knock out the Nazis and the Jets. And say, here's an idea for you. Why don't you get together with your friends tomorrow and make a joint pledge to buy war-saving stamps every time you've got a dime to see which of you can buy the most war-saving stamp every week and every month. Now, in that way, you'll help Uncle Sam smash the Axis. You'll be doing your share to win this war.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look! Up in the sky! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's Superman!
Follow the adventures of Superman every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station. Superman is directed by George Lothar and is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
This is Mutual.
Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal, invite you to rocket into the future with Tom Corbett. Hey, Cadet. Stand by to raise ship. Blast off -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. As roaring rockets blast off to distant planets and far-flung stars, we take you to the age of the conquest of space with Tom Corbett. Space Cadet. Aboard a giant passenger spaceship rocketing toward the planet Venus, Space Cadets Tom Corbett and Roger Manning have solved the murder of Barton Reed, a representative from the ruling council of Venus. Now, with Nestor Deegan, a former suspect, they make their way down the companionways of the ship to the jet boat deck, where the assassin is being held prisoner in one of the airlocks.
I still can't get over it. Who would have thought a beautiful space doll like Alexandra Stone knocked off Barton Reed?
She's a very clever and unscrupulous woman, Cadet Manning.
Yeah, she almost had us believing you were guilty, Mr. Deegan. Go on, not me, Tom. I had her pegged from the minute I saw her.
But, Cadet Manning, you just said...
Don't pay any attention to him, Mr. Deegan. Roger always knows everything after it's happened. Oh, I do, huh? Well, listen here, you little space gnat. Have your tubes, Roger. This is the jet boat deck. Now, let's collect our prisoner. Which airlock was she caught in, Mr. Deegan?
Number 3, port side. When I warned the captain about her, he sealed the outer portal.
Neat little trap. Sure glad it worked. She's got plenty of explaining to do.
Oh, there's Baxter, the flight engineer. He's been waiting for you, I guess.
Uh-huh. Right in front of airlock 3.
Congratulations, Cadet. You did a very neat job with that time bomb. Skipper asked me to tell you he was notifying Commander Arkwright of your good work.
Well, thank you, sir. I hope it makes up for the way we used his orders.
What then?
Nothing, sir. How about the prisoner? Can we talk to her?
Talk to her?
Yeah, she's going to tell us why she murdered Barton Reed.
This is very important, Mr. Baxter.
There's a dangerous plot against the Council of Venus, and she's the only one who can tell us who's behind it.
You've got to let us talk to her.
I would, Cadet Corbett, only...
Only what?
Well, I thought you knew. She tried to escape. Climbed out of the jet boat to open the outer airlock portal by manual control.
She what?
She forgot the airlock pressure was high. When she opened the portal, she was pulled out into space. Alexandra Stone is dead.
Find anything yet, Roger?
No, not a blasted thing. Except that doll sure wore some classy clothes.
No, forget the clothes. We need something important.
Okay.
Corbett, if we don't find anything here in Alexandra Stone's compartment, if we don't get a clue to the identity of her masters, the ruling council of Venus is doomed.
Look, Mr. Deacon, what's this all about anyway? And how do you fit in? Who are you anyway?
I think you deserve to know, Corbett, especially after what you and Manning have done. I am a special operative for the Council of Venus. I was assigned to guard Barton Reed on his flight to Earth.
Oh?
Yes, I know what you're thinking. I didn't do a very good job of it. But then I didn't know of his plans to switch uniforms with Manning when he first arrived.
I see. But why did Barton Reed come to Earth in the first place?
To get help from the Solar Guard in stopping a revolution that threatens Venus.
A revolution?
Yes. We don't know who the leaders are, and we don't know when it will begin. But undoubtedly it will be soon. If we could only find out who these men are and where they will strike, we can be ready for them.
But how can a revolution succeed? The Solar Guard will throw everything into the fight.
These men are looking for a quick victory before the Solar Guard can even organize a defense.
Hey, Tom, Mr. Deacon, I got something, I think.
What is it?
Well, let's see, Roger.
This scrap of paper. It was folded in a locket the doll had. Found it by accident in a jewelry case.
Funny. All it says is Atmosphere Station 5.
Yeah. Now, why should she keep something like this in a locket?
Mean anything to you, Mr. Deacon?
No, except an atmosphere station is a vital part of life on Venus. Without them, we could never survive.
Hey, you think those jokers behind the revolution intend to knock off the station?
No, impossible.
I don't see why, Mr. Deacon. The maintenance crews certainly wouldn't expect an attack. They'd be helpless.
Well, perhaps you're right.
Tom, as soon as we land, we better see what gives at that station.
For once, you're right.
No, you cadets have done enough. You must return to Earth now.
Oh, no, we didn't come this far to quit now.
But it may be very dangerous.
It hasn't been exactly clear sailing up to now. No, Mr. Deacon. We're following through all the way.
Very well, just as you wish, Cadet Corbett. But remember one thing. In dealing with these revolutionists, failure means death. We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by.
Spaceman, today you're going to hear a very important message from Commander Arkwright. Now, Commander Arkwright put this message on the telerecorder system with special instructions that you hear him at this time. Commander Arkwright.
As the Commandant of Space Academy, it is my responsibility to see that only the best young men are permitted to become Space Cadets. Each year, I have personally checked the records to make sure every cadet is in his best possible physical condition. In questioning these young men, I have noticed one outstanding fact. In every case, the men who appeared to be the best choices were young men who were careful to eat good, nourishing foods. Now, one of these good foods is Kellogg's Pep. Pep is a 100% whole wheat cereal. And in addition to getting all the advantages of wheat in Kellogg's Pep, you also get a full day's supply of needed vitamin D in every serving. Besides vitamin D, Pep also gives you vitamin B1. So take my advice. To help get yourself in the kind of condition to meet the standards of Space Academy, eat Kellogg's Pep. You will find it's a fine tasting cereal as well as a nourishing one. End transmission.
Well, there you are, Spaceman, right from Commander Arkwright. For built-up food values and a delicious, malty-rich flavor, ask your mom to get Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep.
Scattered over the surface of Venus at intervals of 2,000 miles are immense towering structures of gleaming metal and permaglass. These are the atmosphere stations, the lungs of the misty planet, supplying its inhabitants with breathable air. Now, Tom and Roger have arrived at Station 5 and tour the installation with the commanding officer, Captain Bridges.
We're standing on the control platform now, cadets. It's the nerve center of the atmosphere station. We're 100 feet above the floor. From this panel, we can regulate every phase of operations. The men you see working below are the maintenance crew.
Wow, it's a long way down, Captain Bridges.
Yes, and it's an even longer way up, if you'll notice. Above us is the output tower. The manufactured air is pumped out into the space surrounding Venus at the rate of 8 million cubic feet per minute.
Well, how do you manufacture the air?
From the original atmosphere. It's taken apart to make free oxygen and free nitrogen, leaving hydrogen, which escapes into space. We hold the oxygen by freezing it, and we move it through these pipes over here into large combine chambers where normal Earth atmosphere is created.
A little sabotage around here, and the people of Venus would be in a mess of trouble.
Yes, indeed, Cadet Manning. And from what you've told me, we'll have to be prepared. I've already doubled the guard, and I'm making a thorough check on every man in the crew.
Isn't there anything that can be done if these stations are sabotaged?
Yes. We're preparing the old cities.
The old cities?
That's right, Corbett. The first colonists on Venus built cities under huge glass domes. They still exist. Several of them are being secretly restored, just in case of emergency.
Great jumping Jupiter, what happened?
One of the oxygen pipes is broken.
Well, that one over there, look, the stuff is pouring out. Let's get out of here.
Close your eyes, both of you, or they'll be frozen.
But how can we see?
Keep your hands on the guardrail. Follow it to the emergency stairs.
No, before it's too late. Here's the inspection report on that accident this morning, Corbett. Care to see it?
Yes, please, Captain Bridges. Uh-huh. I'm not surprised. How about letting me in on it, Tom? Well, listen, this is the last paragraph, Roger. In conclusion, close examination of the oxygen feed pipe clearly reveals the break could not have occurred through structural failure.
You don't have to read any more, pal. The answer is sabotage.
Exactly.
But not a very effective form of sabotage, boys.
What do you mean, sir?
Well, if somebody wanted to really knock out the station, he wouldn't have done it that way. All we had to do was shut off the oxygen supply.
But what about the way the stuff poured out?
It still wouldn't cause too much damage. Unless there was an open fire around, wouldn't even harm personnel. Not where the break occurred, anyway.
It almost got us, didn't it?
Exactly.
Hey, now I know what you're driving at, sir. Somebody was laying for us.
Right.
Oh, brother, here we go again.
Sir, do you have any idea who might have done it?
We suspect a man named Ford. He's only been working here at the station for 2 months, and he disappeared right after the accident.
Well, that's something of a lead. Suppose we try to find this joker.
Suits me fine. Let's see if he can take it as well as he dishes it out.
Right. We'll check with you later, Captain.
All right, Corbett. But watch yourselves, both of you. It looks like you're a couple of important targets.
Hello? Hello, this is Ford reporting.
It's about time. Where have you been?
Hiding out. They're looking for me.
Of course they are. You're a bungler, Ford. An incredible bungler. Not only did you fail to remove the cadets, but you disappeared from your job at the atmosphere station and called attention to yourself.
But I knew there would be an investigation.
Exactly why you should have stayed. Now you've alerted the guards of future sabotage, and you make our whole scheme more difficult.
But there was nothing else I could do.
You could have used your head. No matter now. The important thing is those cadets. They've got to be put out of the way. They've done nothing but snoop around since they arrived, probing into everything. They're dangerous. Ford?
Yes?
I'm going to give you a chance to redeem yourself.
What do you want me to do?
I've no doubt that Corbett and Manning are looking for you. You make it easy for them to catch you.
Catch me, but they'll...
They won't do anything to you. They're interested in bigger fish. By showing just the right degree of reluctance and resistance, you can lead them here. After that, I'll take care of them. My own manner.
Well, we're doing real great, Tom. 2 days since we started looking for Ford and not a sign of him.
Feather your jets, Roger. We'll find him. As a matter of fact, he'll come to us.
What makes you so sure?
Hourly transmissions are being made by telespeople, asking all Solar Guard stations on Venus to be on the lookout for Ford. The revolutionary group he's tied up with is sure to intercept those transmissions.
So what?
So this. They'll send Ford to us.
You're space happy.
Not at all. They'll want to find out exactly how much we know before they get rid of us. They'll want to find out if the Solar Guard is preparing any kind of defense. And we'll be just the ones to tell them.
Go on. I still think you're space happy.
I am, eh? Well, I'll bet you a new uniform that's Ford now.
It's a bet.
Okay. Open the door.
Furthermore, if it's Ford, I'll polish your boots for a year.
I'm looking for Cadet Corbett or Cadet Manning.
I'm Manning.
My name is Ford. I understand you've been looking for
Great,
me.
jolly.
Come in, Mr. Ford. I've been expecting you. Start reaching for that boot polish, Roger.
Okay.
You're Cadet Corbett?
That's right.
I came here to see if I could make a deal with you two.
What sort of a deal?
I've been mixed up in something pretty dangerous here on Venus. I'm not my own master. Because of my past, I'm forced to work for men who would stop at nothing.
Including getting rid of us.
Yes. You see, they want to take over this planet and establish a government of their own. I didn't bargain for that.
So you want out. Is that it?
I want my record cleared and all charges against me dropped. If you can arrange that, I'll identify all the leaders of this revolutionary movement.
Well, that isn't up to us.
But you'll put in a good word for me, won't you? You'll tell the Solar Guard I helped you?
Sure, if you do.
Fair enough. Now, we'll have to move fast. They plan to strike tonight against the atmosphere station.
How much time have we got?
Less than 2 hours.
Okay. I'll call headquarters and warn them right away.
No, not yet, Corbett.
Why not?
I don't know which station they're going to hit. And it would be foolish to concentrate a defense around one and have the enemy attack another.
That adds up, Tom. There aren't enough men to guard them all.
But still,
As soon as we find out which one is the target, you can contact headquarters by space radio. There'll still be time.
We're wasting what little time we've got. Come on, Tom. On the ball.
Say, listen, Ford. How much farther do we have to go in this jet boat?
Be there in another minute, Corbett.
Hey, Tom. He's taking us pretty far away from Venusport, and we've only got 45 minutes left.
Yeah, I know, Roger.
Think he's on the level?
Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's to play along.
Where's he taking us, anyway?
The headquarters of the whole revolutionary movement.
Oh, yeah? What are we going to do there? Take on the whole bunch of them, the two of us?
No, we're just going in to see who the leaders are and find out where they're going to attack first. Then we contact headquarters.
We're going in, huh? Just like that, I suppose. Maybe they'll invite us to have tea.
Now, wait a minute, will you? We'll be wearing spacesuits. Everyone will look alike.
Oh, well, why didn't you say so?
Corbett, Manning, better put your suits on now. You're going to land.
Right. Hurry up, Roger.
Yeah, all the time, hurry. One of these days, we're going to hurry ourselves right into the grave. Some installation here. All those characters outside are armed to the teeth.
Yes, with heat rays. Once those men are turned loose against the atmosphere stations...
You don't have to say it, Tom. The crews won't have a chance unless we warn them in time.
Down this tunnel now, Corbett.
We're right behind you, Ford.
When are we going to catch up with the leaders of this mob?
The inner chamber where the final plans for attack are being made is down at the end of this tunnel. I'll take you into the chamber next to it, and you'll be able to hear everything there.
Good.
As soon as we get the information we need, we'll beat it back to the jet boat and alert headquarters.
Yes, that is the best plan, Corbett.
Hey, Tom, I was just thinking, wouldn't it be something if we brought in the leaders ourselves?
Now, don't get any big ideas, pal. One thing at a time.
Okay. It was just an idea.
Hey, get a load of these pipes along the tunnel. They look familiar to you?
Oh, yeah, just like the pipes at the atmosphere stations, the ones that carried liquid oxygen.
This installation is a small-scale atmosphere station. The leaders planned well. When they knock out the ones on the surface, they'll be protected down here.
Oh, brother, what an operation.
Quietly now. That portal at the end of the tunnel opens into the main chamber where the meeting is taking place. You two go in here. Wait, I'll open the portal.
Hey, pretty dark in there.
I'll switch on the light as soon as we're inside. Go on now.
Come on, Tom. Let's get this over with. Which way, Ford?
Just stand where you are, Corbett.
Hey, who's that?
There. You recognize me in the light, Manning?
Deegan. What in the universe are you doing here?
This is where I belong, Manning. And I must say, you don't look very surprised, Corbett.
Frankly, Deegan, I'm not.
Hey, will somebody please tell me what gives around here?
That's pretty simple, Roger. Our friend Nestor Deegan is the real leader of the revolution.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by.
Say, spaceman, do you want a cereal that helps you to build strong bones and muscles? Do you want a cereal that gives you food energy for a quick morning blast-off? Well, then, you want Kellogg's Pep. Yes, sir. That's the super space cereal that's a breakfast time favorite from here to Neptune. And, mister, the first time you sit down to a bowl full of Kellogg's Pep, you'll know why. What a flavor. why, you won't settle for less than second helpings. And just remember, at the same time you're enjoying the taste of pep, you'll be taking on Sunshine Vitamin D and Vitamin B1. You'll be taking on top-notch food energy, too. Food energy to help you blast off for a busy day. All the cadets here at Space Academy eat plenty of Kellogg's Pep every morning. So, if you want to start your day the way Tom, Astro, Roger, and all the fellas do, you eat Pep, too. Ask your mom to start serving Kellogg's Pep tomorrow morning. Rustle lots of Pep into your cereal bowl, pour on the milk, sprinkle some sugar, and dig in. When you taste Pep, you want to start every day the spaceman's way with Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep.
Led into the secret headquarters of the revolutionary movement on Venus, Tom and Roger find Nestor Deegan waiting for them triumphantly. But Tom shows little surprise, and as he holds them at the point of a heat ray gun, Deegan questions the cadets.
So you knew I was the leader of the revolution, eh, Corbett?
I didn't know that, but I was sure you were tied up in it somehow.
You're very well informed. Who talked?
You did, Deegan.
Me?
Yes, back in Alexandra Stone's compartment on the passenger ship. When you told us you were guarding Barton Reed.
Well?
You said you didn't know of his plans to switch uniforms with Roger, which meant that you really did know, because nobody ever mentioned that to you or anybody else. You just kept toying with us, helping us search Alexandra Stone's compartment to find out if she left any clues behind.
Hey, that's right. You were the only one who knew we were going to Atmosphere Station 5, and that's where Ford tried to get us.
Well, very clever of you boys.
But if they knew all this, why did they come here with me?
To nail everything down, get proof.
And what are you going to do with it?
I don't have to do anything. Captain Bridges and a detachment of the Solar Guard will be here in 10 minutes to clean out this nest of rats.
What? Oh, did anyone follow you?
No, I swear.
You're wrong, pal. You were followed by tracer beam. Here. You see this belt communicator? It's wide open, sending out a steady signal. You hear? Captain Bridges has been following this signal with his tracer. He knows exactly where we are.
Ford, get that. Destroy it.
Yes, sir.
There. Thanks, Ford. You just gave the final signal.
What do you mean?
The minute the signal stopped, Captain Bridges knew that we were at your headquarters. So now he'll close in.
Why, you...
Sir, we've got to get out of here.
All right. Stand over there against that wall, both of you.
What are you going to do?
You'll find out. Now stay there.
Sure, Deegan. We've got all the time in the world.
Oh, no, you haven't, Corbett. Ford. Yes, sir? I want you to get every man out of here. Tell the unit commander to begin the attack. But it's not time.
Tom, we got to do something fast. Deacon's sure to burn us down with that heat ray of his.
I know. Now get this. There's an oxygen pipe connection right behind me.
So?
I'm opening it.
Great galaxy.
Shut up and listen. The stuff is leaking out right now, and it'll turn to vapor fast. When Deegan fires that ray, the oxygen will ignite. There'll be an explosion.
And what happens to us?
We'll have to take our chances. And we'll have to move fast to duck that ray. Now drop when he fires.
Okay.
Let me know when you're finished, huh? All right, now, you two.
Get ready.
Your interference has endangered my plans, but if I move fast enough, there's a chance for success.
Not much, Junior.
You certainly won't know about it. Hey, what's that noise?
I don't hear anything.
The oxygen. You've opened the valve. Why, you...
No, Roger!
I'll fry you.
Stay down, Roger! Stay down! The oxygen is igniting!
Well, cadets, looks like you both had real spaceman's luck.
I'll say we did, Captain Bridges.
Just a few burns, that's all. Deegan really got the full force of the blast.
Will he pull through, sir?
Yes, although I'm sure he'd rather not. Life on the prison asteroid is no bed of roses. Oh, by the way, I got an audiogram from Commander Arkwright.
Uh-oh, I'm afraid of this.
How many demerits do we get?
Well, in view of what you did, he's willing to forget the whole thing.
Is that all? No medals?
Medals?
Roger, I'll settle for this any time.
Not me. Why, after all the detective work I put in...
You put in?
Sure. Didn't I tell you back at the beginning that Deegan was our man? But no, you wouldn't listen to me. I talk and talk, but you never even...
Cadet Manning.
Yes, sir?
Haven't you wondered why Corbett never told you about using the tracer beam to locate Deegan's headquarters?
Yeah, I have.
It's just because you talk and talk. So suppose you do something about your mouth right now, eh?
Yeah, Roger. Like cramming the other foot into it, too.
Don't miss the next action-packed adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, on Tuesday, when the crew of the Polaris receives sudden orders to blast off for Titan to take part in a mission of mercy. Tune in, same time, same station on Tuesday for the next thrilling interplanetary adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet.
Brought to you by Kellogg's Pep, the Build-Up Wheat Cereal.
Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, starring Frankie Thomas, can also be seen on television and appears in the comic sections of many of America's leading newspapers. Look for it daily and in weekend editions. Featured in today's cast were Jan Merlin, Peter Capell, and William Keane. Today's program was written by Elwood Hoffman, directed by Drex Hines. Jackson Beck speaking.
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret. Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret. And what a secret! In Kellogg's Raisin Bran, the tasty raisins are dipped in honeycomb. That means plumper, more tender raisins, along with delicious golden crisp bran flakes. Both fruit and cereal all in one box. And no other raisin brand but Kellogg's gives you the tender goodness of raisins dipped in honeycomb. That's Kellogg's secret. So for your breakfast, make sure you get Kellogg's, because Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
This program came to you from New York. America is sold on ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
Tired of the everyday grind? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape. Escape designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Stranded with a Carnival just this side of the Iron Curtain. When out of nowhere, a fortune is within your grasp. Riding a number on a roulette wheel hundreds of feet high. While at your shoulder, laughing at you, a killer clown from whom there is no escape. Listen now as Escape brings you David Friedkin and Morton Fine's story, Carnival in Vienna. Tenements used to be called the Schottenhof. Then there was a war, and it was called rubble. Then it was cleaned up, and it was just an empty space in the older part of Vienna. That's where the Carnival set up. Pitch and wind stands, wheels, the midway act on the high wire for a bally, rides, palm readers, and the biggest Ferris wheel this side of the Rhine. 20 carriages and a 4-minute ride. And myself, front gate superintendent, John Ashcroft Allison. A nice sounding name. John Ashcroft Allison. The head calls me Hare, which is Mister. That's the way it is. And there's Lily, who works the gas whenever it's needed. He's got red hair. We get along fine.
Anna, is that better? Thank you. After every passing shiny thing, a mirror, anything, stops and opens, straightens, you get your hair.
What I look good for?
The next time.
$10 American money. Maroon.
Silk?
Pink. Silk.
And also liar.
What do you mean?
Liar, you are vain. You are proud and you have nothing to be proud of. You are hasty. You are a thief. You
What do you mean?
thief. And you have another.
Tell you what.
You and me, the plain to him.
Oh, baby. One of these days, back to the States.
You'll never go to this thing. You cannot, I know.
You always tell him?
Last night he was very down. And although I did not want to...
Oh, I bet you didn't.
Although I did not want to hear, they paid me a forger in a state house in Syria. Where you were at the Carnival as a man who was handwriting characteristics.
Well, once the guy wrote down his name for me to analyze, and I saved the signature and forged it for 3 months all over the place before they almost caught up with me. One day I would have told you. You didn't have
I didn't do anything. They were frank and he told me. And he told me how you fled from your country to Europe, and how he met you, and how you've been traveling from Carnival to Carnival.
Will you listen to me? Come on, let's go. Listen, Millie. These guys are going to get my hands on enough dough.
These are meeting. Not so?
Clown, why don't you do something about that clown?
Why should I do something about him? I like him. I'm very far away laugh. But a wooden clown. A wooden clown, a mechanism. Listen to him. Listen to him. It's a purely mechanical laugh. Contrived to induce customers into my hall of mirrors. Why does he upset you? Annoys me. Come on, I said, come on. What else is he here, Allison? As if he knows your nose and laughs at you? And knows you stop and preen like a peacock and laugh at you?
I just want to tell you something, cousin. My advice. Change the record in that hunt. In that clown.
Yes.
What do you want?
As if you were upon your shoulder, laughing at you.
Huh?
Answer.
Oh, it's not bad. It's...
Laughing at you.
Let's forget it, huh?
I love to watch you perform. Come on.
In the States, there's a bar.
Yes. Let us go home.
What's the matter? Joey. Huh?
Joey, wow.
Yeah. You wait there. Just wait.
Without being turning, get down and fight and mark him. That's your...
Joe. Let's take a walk.
See?
Down to How back here, Joey? Back of the crib.
What's wrong?
Back here. Hi, Joey.
What's wrong with you?
Been friends, haven't we? Bumped into each other in a silver bar and buddies right off.
Sure.
Besides the fact you're a luck, you're a good boy. Good friend. Good shield for any Connie in the world, right? Oh, right. I don't mind you took a drink and spilled a lily about me. One way or another, she had to find out.
Well, what's this all about?
You, heisted the wallet just now.
Huh?
From a guy. Tourist, right? Tourist, huh? He was with a blonde from Maxie's. He had to be a tourist. The way he was dressed. Green shorts and a feather in his hat. Into the wallet, Joey.
I'm taking no wallet.
Talk to me like that, Joey. You're close to death.
I'm telling you, I didn't do it.
Come on.
Joey? Joey?
Now we'll take the wallet, Joey. Oh. Where, Joey? Inside your shirt? Let's see. Tourist, all right. Oh, Mac, lost in there. Card. Where's the dough? Where's the dough, Joey? You already left the dough out of it? Wait a minute. You know what, Joey? You'll never know. Fine, pal. Some friend of mine. One day it'll catch up to you. One day, John, will catch up to you. And when it does, I didn't look at him anymore. Not at Joey. But John Ashcroft Allison looking out at me from the aluminum side of the trailer. Hand on the knot of a $10 tie. And he winked back at me, and his lips shaped the words I was saying. $23,000. Letter of credit in Mr. Paul Mack's wallet, complete with identification card. So I looked around for the green short, the man with a feather in his hat, with a blonde from Mack. The way it happened, I bumped into them coming out of a mirror. I trailed them over to the Ferris wheel, watched Mr. Mack slap down some change for cut the ticket. Waited until they got into a carriage on the wheel. And it started up again. And I walked over to Alice. She was up. Alice. Hello, Alice. Working on it? Not hard. Just take the wheel down. Hey, how about you and Molly? I never got to see her. Although she works right over there, we only get away then when we are both off. Her boyfriend comes, takes her away. Why don't you go over and talk to her? Sure, well, I'll take over the wheel. I was sitting like this morning. Go on, Peter. Take it, Ferris wheel this side of the river. 20 carriages in a 4-minute ride. Mr. Paul Mack from Boston, Mass. in the green one, with a blonde, enjoying. To keep him in the carriage like get his $23,000. That was the trick. A 20-to-1 shot. Scoop a handful of sand and gravel off the ground. Into the oil intake. Another handful. Another. 4 minutes with 14 times around. 8 times, nothing happened. 5. 11. The biggest thing in the world. I can gas it come up green with a couple of handfuls. I think it didn't work. I need another minute. Maybe I... When I opened them, the wheel had stopped spinning. Carriage at the top was green. I knew there wasn't a chance of that wheel coming down for a long, long time. And there wasn't a ladder that high that could get them down. $23,000 on a 20-to-1 shot. I just hit.
You are listening to Carnival in Vienna, tonight's presentation of Escape. Edgar Bergen fans will be doubly delighted with the new Edgar Bergen Show with Charlie McCarthy. Remember, Sunday nights on most of these stations, the new Edgar Bergen Show with Charlie McCarthy. And now back to Escape and the second act of Carnival in Vienna.
shining anymore against the Vienna sky. And for a little while, the small riot of Carney wound down. New attraction added to early afternoon where the Danube flows. And how the kids took to it, climbed the girders and hung from them like skinny rag dolls and kicked their feet into Otto's face who was going crazy trying to fix his Ferris wheel. And a small detail of Russian soldiers took to it, too, grinning up at the merchandise display of black cotton stockings and Bohemian petticoats. And at the very, very, very top, oh, very, a gent from Boston, Mass, with his arms wrapped around a blonde from everywhere. I told Otto to handle it the best way he could. I'd round up some refugees to give my hand. And I walked away from it. Down the midway, past the gas station, past the shooting gallery, past him, past the clock. Past where the Carney started to die and got to be mud and litter and broken straw, where the trailers were, mine bright and shinier than the rest. Because there was a displaced floor line very handy with a dust cloth. We needed to work. And the John, class in penmanship. Oh, gentle, the writing hand. Full, circle, and flat, and then Johnny Allison into Paul Mac. Gent from Boston, Mass. Paul Mac. Paul Mac.
What you doing, Johnny boy? What you doing, Johnny boy?
The bottle of schnapps over in the cupboard, Joey. Drink yourself dead.
No.
Maybe you don't understand because you're fuzzed up. You're not wanted, Joey.
Oh, now that hurts. Hurts when you say it to an old friend. But you could buy back my affection. I like you, Johnny. I don't want not to like you.
Lush. Read it, Lush.
Don't talk like that, Johnny. You made a noise like $23,000 when I heard you laugh. I don't know the angle, but I want in. Half, Johnny.
Better you dreamed of Madame Sauda. It's her pitch, not mine.
What was you doing when I come in, Johnny? Writing a letter? Practicing, maybe? Getting old feeling the digits just there. Just let me see, Johnny.
Get your face away from it.
You didn't even let me speak. But I got something I want you to see, Johnny. I brought it just to show you.
Oh, Joey, you really are fussed, aren't you?
No. All this here gun does, Johnny, all it does in the world is to make you and me buddies. I squeezes on it just a little bit, and all it says, you hear it, Johnny? All it says is buddy, buddy, buddy. Like it was a mama dog. You say half to me, Johnny. Say half for $23,000. I don't squeeze no more.
Give it to me, Joey. Give me the gun, and then you can go hit the schnapps bottle. Give me, Joey. You can squeeze the schnapps bottle.
You just sit right down on the floor, Johnny, so it'll go off up between your eyes.
Give me, Joey. Oh, drop it. Oh, throw it away.
I'll get it. I'll get it. Johnny boy, I'm doing it.
Come here. Come here.
It's yours. Here, take it. I'll get it. Nobody can play you for a sucker, Johnny boy. You help me up, and I'll...
Got to be doing that. Like this. Just like this. He was as dead as I could make him. I picked him up, carried him to my car, propped his body in the front seat next to me. Whoever may have seen it figured the only thing to figure. Joey was stoned again. And had Johnny Allison was nursing him, like he'd done 1,002 times. It took 15 minutes to drive out to the edge of the Russian zone, along it to a square block of rubble. behind it to an alley. I opened a bottle of schnapps I'd remember to bring along, rinsed out my mouth with it, and poured the rest on Joey's throat. I slid the bottle into his coat pocket, used him out of the car. What was in the alley was some garbage cans, scraped clean, some burning dogs who just stared, and a no-name light. In the trailer by 1:30, I could forge the signature of Mr. Paul Mack with the pen between my teeth. 8 letters, straight up and down, with a couple of curls in between. I knew I was in the Vienna State National Bank on Piddlestarter. Good afternoon, sir. What can we do for you this afternoon? Will you do business with me this afternoon, my hair? Here, my letter of credit, my identification card. I'm Paul Mack of Boston, Massachusetts. Oh, of course. Well, my dear, let's get with it. Oh, of course, Mack. Something, Nothing but nothing. Everything is in proper order. Only what? When you telephoned yesterday, you informed that you would not come here until 10 tomorrow morning. Oh, you mean... When you telephoned yesterday, it was at noon. Surely you do remember. Oh, surely I do remember, my dear. Something came up to change my plans, so I'm here now this afternoon. Does that make a difference? No, surely no. Except only that it gives us short notice to gather the money. $5,000 Swiss dollars, was it not? 23,000, my dear. That's the notation I had. Here, I'll show you. Here, that's your telephone yesterday. That you would come tomorrow. That is the 5,000. There you go. Somebody made a mistake. Now, look, I've got a deal. I need every cent left of my letter of credit. 23,000. Cash, dollars, Swiss or American. Make a choice. Of course, Mr. Mack. Did you sign this paper for me so that I may compare signature? The formality only, isn't it? Oh, I want to. Again. Thank you. Danke. And now, only moments longer. I must corroborate with Herr Schindler. The formality. Oh, sure. I'll wait. This is all that it should be, Mr. Mack. Your money's in this parcel. $23,000. Thank you, my man. An offer soon. To sign the receipt. Oh, yeah, I know. Thank you. You understand how much the necessity of caution. However, there's the thing, if you don't mind it. Well, I'm in a hurry. What's eating you? How does it feel? How does a man feel when he can step into the bank, ask for tens of thousands of dollars, and get it? Good. Feels good. Wonderful. Johnny, baby. Open up. Oh, come here. Oh, baby.
I'm tired, and I need to. I'm a fool. Oh, but Johnny, the excitement. The beating stopped, and a minute, the very top of it, screaming, it let me off. How is a man robbed the keep on top of stairs?
That's funny. Lily, we're leaving.
Yeah?
Yeah. What do you want, Lily? What are the dreams? Paris, Rome, London? Dream one over me, baby. Johnny Allison makes it come true. Now grab a coat, Lily. From this minute, it's all you'll ever need.
Where are we going?
I told you, whatever ride you want. Whatever bauble to lay against your neck or your fingers or your toes.
Is the man who you say is front gate superintendent of the cheap 5-piece Carnival?
With $23,000.
Lisa, what are you talking about?
I have to Like I always said I would. $23,000 worth. Now, come on, cover it with a coat.
Where did you get that money, Johnny?
Oh, what difference? It's clean. It makes a pretty sound when rubbed together. Make it whisper and it buys mink for you and silk for me. Like I saw once in a shop in Rome. That's it, baby. First stop Rome so Johnny can look good, so Johnny can look swell, so Johnny can...
You stole it, didn't you?
I promoted it, baby.
You stole it from the American who screamed from the top of the stairs.
Me, baby. Me, Johnny Allison. Come on.
Get out.
Huh?
Get out. I want no part of you.
It's me you're talking to, Lily. The man with the promises, the man with the dreams. So don't...
Promise. Dream man. Man of nothing. Thief. You. Not Lily. Not I.
You're lousing it, baby.
Not with you. Promise man, dream man. Stupid men of angers and gimmicks and promoting that. You got to see the truth of yourself.
Anything else you need to say?
You are like Joe and Nut. Drunk with yourself. Drunk with your stupidity. Drunk with your drunkenness. Yo, it's Johnny Ellison. It's Yo!
Shouldn't have called me that. Not Joey. You shouldn't. Lily needed. With her fingers down clenched and trail along the floor for the life to go out of her. Men get out. Walk, don't run to the midway. Crowd and the Ferris wheel moving now. Midway in the Palace of Fun. The back exit to the world through the Hall of Mirrors, and I was on my way. Hansel the clown laughed, but this time I didn't care. Johnny Allison on his way with $23,000 to take him wherever he wanted to go. The Hall of Mirrors. I know it like a book. Like I knew the back of... The back of my hand. Turn a corner. Not this way. Sometimes a guy forgets. Palace of Fun. Hall of Mirrors. Pay a dime to get in. Took fun trying to get out. Wherever I went, Johnny Allison came right back at me. Thousands on the Ellison. Please, trying to beat a 10-cent dodge. Easy. I didn't see myself. I wouldn't be there, would I? Oh, would I? I couldn't get all of them. Stars, too many. Johnny, that was me. He didn't look so good anymore. He didn't look like anybody I knew. Like Joey, maybe. But Joe. Oh, he's dead. There on the floor. To kill a girl, then to hide in the Hall of Mirrors. Such stupidity? Perhaps not. For here a man can laugh at death. As Johnny laughed, Trojan, and here a man can observe himself in 1,000 mirrors. Johnny, from every angle. That is, if a man can stand looking at himself. Come on.
Has brought you Carnival in Vienna, a story written and directed by David Friedkin and Morton Fine.
Featured in the cast were Jack Moyles, Lillian Baez, Jack Crucian, and Hans Conried. Also heard were Barney Phillips, Robert Boone, and George Peroni. Your announcer, George Walsh. The special music for Escape is composed and conducted by Leith Stevens. Next week.
You are flying a plane high above the island of Mazafuera, 300 miles off the coast of Chile. Beside you, a beautiful woman. And only she knows it's the last stop. The last time around. A death trap from which there is no escape.
So listen next week when Escape brings you Tony Barrett's story, There Was a Crooked Man.
Sweet checks, nice checks, and good hot Ralston present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed adventure, Buzz and Happy are exploring a deserted city on the planet Saturn. As they enter a room filled with precious gems, a stealthy figure slinks to the door and aims a ray gun at them.
Look out, Commander. He's got a ray gun. He's firing.
Quick, Hap, run down that passage. Keep going, Happy. He's right behind him.
It's dark in here. He won't be able to see it. Commander, it's a dead-end passage. We're trapped.
We'll be back in just a moment with today's Space Patrol story, The Forgotten City. It's the cereal of the future, the real space cereal. A cereal that's different from any other cereal in the universe. The cereal you see on Commander Corey's own breakfast table. Delicious Rice Chex, the cereal with a flavor like no other flavor in all the universe. Delicious Rice Chex, crisp shredded rice, spun in that modern bite-sized design for easy eating. Delicious Rice Chex, a real space cereal. Gang, those bite-sized biscuits have space inside so they can fill up with milk or cream. Try Rice Chex today, the only bite-sized rice cereal in the universe. Rice Chex, the only official Space Patrol rice cereal, Rice Chex. The super cereal that helps to supercharge you. Rice Chex at your grocer's in the brand new red and white checkerboard package with Buzz Corey or Cadet Happy on the outside and the magic space picture on the inside. Rice Chex. Rice Chex. Rice Chex. And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, The Forgotten City. Buzz and Happy are flying low over the Cinder Mountains on the planet Saturn, searching for a trace of a meteorology specialist, believed to have crashed in his atmosphere ship in the rugged region. So far, their spaceophone receiver has failed to pick up a signal from the automatic transmitter carried by the scientist, Byron Stearns.
Professor Stearns' transmitter must have finally crossed out, Commander.
According to Space Patrol Saturn, we're very close to the point from which the signal came. Watch the viewscope, Hap, we may be able to spot the wreckage.
Must have been a pretty rugged crash to knock out that automatic transmitter.
Let's hope Stearns had time to get into a spacesuit. If the ship hull was smashed, he couldn't survive very long in this part of Saturn.
Well, what was it he was trying to tell Space Control just before the emergency transmitter cut out?
There was a lot of interference, Happy, almost like a jamming signal according to Space Control. The operator thought Stearns was telling him about sighting another atmosphere ship making close passes at him.
Something? They're on a lab ship?
Well, if we can prove something was responsible for whatever happened to Professor Stearns, some pilot would be drawn to determine.
And if he saw Professor Stearns was in trouble, he probably got away from this area as fast as he could. We may not be able to trail him.
Well, we'll see. If that was the case, the pilot was further negligent in not notifying Space Control if the lab ship was in trouble. We'll just keep searching.
The last signal from the professor's emergency transmitter tells us that his ship is grounded.
I hope he didn't end up in one of those narrow ravines.
There's a chance he might have landed on the other side of the mountain range. We'll round that peak and circle back.
Commander, am I having hallucinations?
What do you mean?
Well, I was sure we were hundreds of degrees from the nearest city, but isn't that an atmosphere show way up there on that mountain?
Well, it certainly is. It's no hallucination. That's the dome of Rubeck.
Rubeck?
Yes, Rubeck, the forgotten city of Saturn.
Well, what's it doing up there in the Sundar range?
It was built centuries ago by one of Saturn's first space pioneers, a man named Lucien Rubeck, the last remaining privately owned city in the solar system.
It doesn't look very big by modern standards. Still, it's pretty impressive, stuck way up there in the mountains.
It's been deserted for nearly 100 years, Happy. Lucien Rubeck's descendants lived there for several generations, and they gradually drifted away to the larger cities in the planet.
The forgotten city. I'd like to visit it someday.
It's pretty interesting. I understand it may be reopened by the government as a museum and put to some other use. That is, if none of the surviving Rubeck family object.
Well, why should they object? They are using the place.
Technically, it's still their property. The government's legal staff has been trying to locate the Rubeck heirs. Plenty are still alive.
Control Saturn calling Commander Corey aboard Terra 5. Control Saturn calling Commander Corey.
Corey here, go ahead.
Commander, a space ship was located in Professor Stern.
Is he all right?
Oh, yes, sir. He was during a space wandering around the
Vulcan range. That's 100 DU from the Sundar region.
Yes, sir. The automatic transmitter could have been out of adjustment.
I'm glad he's been found. Did he say how he crashed?
He wasn't able to get much information, Commander, and we haven't found records of the ship.
Where is he now?
Being brought to Saturn City Hospital. Send him to care for space surgery.
Withdraw all patrols except the squadron in the Vulcan lane. Let's proceed with the search till Stern's ship is found.
Yes, ma'am.
Hurry out.
That's rather strange, isn't it, sir?
About Stern showing up in the Vulcan lane? I'm a bit confused about his exact location. The important thing is that he's safe.
Yeah, and very lucky. That would have been to stay at the wrecked ship instead of wandering through the mountains.
It gives Stearns a chance to recover from his ordeal before we question him. In the meantime, are you still curious about the forgotten city?
Yes, sir.
Then get out of spacesuit. We'll land outside the dome and do a little investigation.
Here's the lock control switch. It doesn't look so ancient. It's Imperium. As shiny as it was installed yesterday. Hope the power's still on. You'll know in a minute. I'll open the switch housing. Let's see. Here's the inside. Oh, here we are. So far, so good. Now let's try the inner lock and go into the next city. Inside the dome, the city really looks big. 100 years ago, Lubeck City was one of the most important settlements of Saturn, I think. And now it's completely deserted. Check your atmosphere indicator. Yes. That's funny. Quite the indicator to say it's been to breach after 100 years. Then they can open the faceplate for our helmets.
Oh, it's really full. How do you account for that, Commander?
Well, there are two explanations. The dome is so well constructed that none of the poisonous Saturn air has leaked in, or else the atmosphere washing plant is still in operation.
After 100 years?
It wouldn't have to work very often. Nothing inside the city shell to use up the air.
Yeah, that's right. Smoking rockets. This is some city. Look at that tower up there.
Rubeck Tower. Lucien Rubeck designed it himself. He had his headquarters in the top floor.
And now Rubeck is a ghost city. Completely deserted.
Makes you realize how impermanent human beings are. Uh-oh.
What did you say? What'd you find?
I saw a dog lying in the snow.
Yeah. Probably thrown there by one of the last people to leave Rubeck.
The medicine bottle. Space sickness formula.
And whoever threw it there hasn't been troubled with space sickness for 100 years.
That's for sure. This is a new formula. Hasn't been on the market more than 6 months.
What?
Your eyes open, Hank. Evidently, Rubeck City isn't as deserted as we thought.
Come in.
There are visitors in the city.
I know, sir. I've been watching them from the tower room. They're space patrolmen.
What are they doing here? We've got to get rid of them.
Don't get excited, sir. By their casual attitude, they must think the city's deserted.
But no one ever comes here. They must know something.
If they suspected what we're using the city for, they'd have brought more men with them. Let them snoop around. It isn't likely they'll come up here.
Suppose Grayson comes back while they're here.
I've contacted Grayson by spaceophone. He'll keep away from the city until the space patrolman leaves.
Did he get rid of the lab ship pilot?
Yes. Turn him loose in the Vulcan Mountains. Pilot's already been picked up.
Suppose he tells them he was shut down near Rubac.
He's in a very dazed, confused condition. Grayson's all right. Space Patrol will assume the pilot was mistaken. Besides, you removed all trace of the wreckage of the ship.
Yes, and I destroyed the automatic transmitter.
Then there's nothing to worry about.
But only Hannah, the Space Patrol and the city.
I know why they're here. The government's getting ready to take over Rubac.
We'll have to leave before they find the stolen tools and space credits we hidden here.
They won't search the city when they find out I'm the great-great-granddaughter of Lucy and Rubac.
What? You are a descendant of Lucy and Rubac?
No, of course not. But I can convince the government I am. I'm having special documents forged in Saturn City right now. I'll be able to convince the most skeptical attorney that I'm really the only living legal heir to Rubac City.
Oh, I hope so. But I still don't like the idea of those space patrolmen snooping around.
Let them snoop. And don't interfere.
Oh, this is some building, Commander. Yes, Captain. Rubac's spent a fortune on this one building alone. And the elevator's here. Shall we go up to the tower? We could get a real good look at the city from here. Just a minute, Happy. Look at the carvings on this building. I bet anything Lucy and Rubac had this imported from the planet Earth. Mm-hmm. It looks like it all was taken from an ancient Oriental temple. From a deserted city on Earth to a deserted city on Saturn. A massive handle. You don't see metal work of this kind anymore, Happy. Yeah, this door leads. Yeah, there's a light on it. Flashed on automatically when I opened the door. Let's have a look. We'll go up to the tower later. Yes, sir. Oh, this must have been Lucy and Rubac's treasure room. That's amazing. Look at those gold and silver buckets. Nice candlesticks. Oh, look. An ancient platinum electric lamp stand. I think Rubac's descendants had thinned out everything of value from this land, apparently in the ground. Imagine all this stuff sitting here for hundreds of years and with no lock on the door. Oh, man, Happy. This object isn't 100 years old. Oh, it's a model spaceship. Studded with jewels. It's a very recent model. And Ruby? Happy, listen. Hear the sound of the door. Look out, Commander. There's a man with a ray gun.
Hold your fire. We're space patrolmen.
That's why I am shooting.
Quick, Happy, down this passage. Right.
You aren't going to escape that way.
Keep going, Happy's right behind us. Yes, sir. It's dark in here. He won't be able to see us. Commander, it's a dead-end passage. We're trapped.
That's right. You're trapped. And I'm going to wait right here and pick you off. One at a time.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment. Hi, gang. Captain Dick Tupel speaking from the planet Earth. Doing a man-on-the-street broadcast this morning to see what some of these kids here on Earth think about the 3 official Space Patrol breakfast cereals. Now, here's a sharp-looking lad. Say there, what'd you say the very first time you tried bite-sized wheat Chex?
I said, mmm.
And here's another fine-looking chap. Son, what did you say the very first time you tried bite-sized rice Chex?
I said.
And here's still another youngster. Tell me, what's your opinion of Instant Ralston, a hot super cereal made of rich whole wheat?
Man, oh, man, oh, man, oh, man.
Try 'em yourself, gang. You'll say the very same thing.
Mm-hmm. Man, oh, man, oh, man.
Yes, get 'em today, boys and girls. Rice Chex, wheat Chex, good hot Ralston.
And remember, Chex now have a brand new package. The Buzz Courier, Cadet Happy on the outside, and the Magic Space Picture on the inside.
And now back to Space Patrol and the adventure of a forgotten city. Buzz and Happy were searching for an atmosphere ship crashed in the Cinder Mountains of Saturn near the deserted city of Rubac. After learning from Space Control that the missing pilot has been found 100 VUs away, Buzz and Happy decided to visit the deserted city. They entered the atmosphere shell without any trouble. But, unknown to the Space Patrolman, Rubac is being used by a woman named Orlana as a hideout for stolen jewels. While Buzz and Happy were examining a treasure room in the base of a tower, they were fired upon by Orlana's henchman, Shefka. Now, Shefka has them cornered in a darkened passage and is waiting to shoot them with his ray gun.
Don't try to sneak up on me. I can hear every move you make. I warned you.
I'll take that ray gun. Have you got him, sir? No, stay down, Happy. He broke loose after him, Hap. Yes, sir. Well, there he goes through that door. He's locked that door on this way on the spot. It's opening, sir. After him, quickly. He's in the elevator, Commander. Come out of there. Oh, he's going up to the tower. He'll take the stairs. Come on, Happy.
Oh, you fool. You blundering fool.
But they were in the treasure room at the base of the tower.
What if they were? You could have explained everything that's there. I have a difficult time now after idiotic interference.
I'm sorry, Orlana. I only did what I thought was best.
Hacking space between me. They'd never have known anyone was in the city to obeyed my orders.
What are we going to do now?
I'll have to face them and make an explanation. They're probably searching the tower now.
If you get me another gun, I could still fight them out.
No. Get me next room and contact Trojan. Tell him to come in with his space patrol ships outside the shell and nothing.
I thought that...
You've done all the thinking you're going to do. And now I'll just do what I tell you. If I can explain our presence here, I can explain Brayton's. If the space patrol is skeptical, well, Brayton's a good man to have around.
Yes. Brayton can handle that.
If you keep your mouth shut, we won't need Brayton. Now go on, make that space patrol close.
Yes, all right.
I'll go out and look out.
This is the top floor of the tower, sir. I'll be careful. I'll search every room. Where do I get my hands on the capture? Somewhere on the side of that door.
Oh, there you are. I was hoping I'd find you.
You're looking for someone, too.
Oh, you mean Schefter, my assistant. He told me what happened. I'm terribly sorry.
Where is he? I want to talk to him.
Please step in here. He'll be right out.
Thanks. Come on, Heather. Yes, sir. I'm Commander Corey of the Space Patrol.
And I'm Orlana Rubik.
Rubik? And you're related to the Lucian Rubik who built this city.
Yes, that's right. He was my great-great-grandfather.
I was under the impression that the city was deserted.
Well, I came here a few months ago with a couple of servants. Schefter, the man who fired at you, has been with his family for years.
Does he always treat visitors so cordially?
Oh, really, I'm awfully sorry about that. Schefter has a great sense of loyalty. He thinks his chief duty is to protect me.
So why do you live here in this deserted city?
I'm not surprised if you're curious, but the explanation's very simple. I'm writing a book about my family.
You like to work in solitude, huh?
Yes, it's a great inspiration to work right here in Lubeck City, where so much of Saturn history is made. And, too, there are many ancient records and family documents right at hand.
I see. I suppose that you can prove that you're a member of the Lubeck family.
Oh, naturally. I can refer to some influential people in Saturn City.
Oh. Now, would you bring your servant out here, please?
Yes. I'll be on your minute.
Yes, sir? What do you think? I don't know. Just writing a book is as good an explanation for doing here as any. Matter of fact, a book about the Rubeks would no doubt be very popular. We'll see. Commander, look at this plastic folder. It was on the desk. Oh, that's right. Looks like a official identification folder. Okay, this is Baron Stone's ID folder. Hmm? The lab ship part? Yeah. It was found in the Vulcan Mountains. The identification folder is here in Lubeck City. Oh. How could his... I presume nothing happened.
Here he is, Commander. This is Schefter.
Commander Corey, please accept my apology. I was greatly in the wrong. I acted from a mistaken sense of duty. If you thought we were intruders, there'd be some excuse, but have you forgotten that you seemed to accept the fact that we were space patrolmen at the time? Well, I acted on impulse, Commander. Again, I'm sorry. All right, Chester. And Miss Rubek.
Yes, Commander.
I was just telling Cadet Happy that a book on the Rubek family ought to be very popular.
Oh, I hope so, Commander.
I'd like to look over the first few chapters of your manuscript.
Well, as a matter of fact, I'm really in the note-gathering stage right now. There's really nothing down in manuscript form that anyone could read but myself.
Oh, I see. And would you show me around the tower? I imagine you must have a lot of time to be curious.
Well, is this an official search, Commander?
No, I don't have a warrant, but if you object to a formal tour...
Oh, no, not at all. Chester and I'll be delighted to show you around.
Judging by a few items Happy and I saw down below, this ought to be very interesting.
But I think you've seen just about every room in the tower, Commander.
How about that room over there?
Oh, that's just a closet for cleaning supplies.
Would you mind opening it?
Well, really, Commander,
Or I could come back with a warrant and squad a patrol.
Very well, if you insist. But there's really nothing in there. Unlock it, Chester.
Anna.
Open it, Chester.
Oh. Well, some real old family heirloom. Stacks of space credits. And very new. All that money in a closet for cleaning supplies?
I suppose it is rather odd. But then here in this deserted city, one place is as good as another.
I'd like to ask you something, Miss Rita. How do you happen to have an identification holder belonging to a space patrol scientist named Byron Stone?
Byron Stone? I don't understand.
Strange was reported in trouble in this area and was rescued in the Vulcan Mountain region. I'm waiting for an explanation, Miss Rita.
Drayton, get them.
Yes, Alana. Look out, Commander. That takes care of the big one. Now for you, my smaller friend. Take your big mitts off me. Quit struggling or I'll break your arm.
Ow!
I'll help you, Drayton. Get away, Captain. I can handle it.
You got here just in time, Drayton.
What did they do?
They just wandered in. They know about that lab ship pilot. They found his identification filled out.
Better take care of him for good.
I don't want any slip-ups this time, Drayton.
You better let me take care of it. He fumbled the last one. Don't listen to him, Alana. I can fix it. Hold still, Cadet.
Ow! Oh, my shoulder. Better, Horsetail. Drayton's capable of breaking you in two.
Yeah. Chef got two if he doesn't keep his mouth shut.
That's enough of that, Drayton. I need both of you.
You see, you big Venus buffalo. Chef,
Stop that bickering.
Drayton's fault we're in this mess. He left the lab ship's pilot foldering your office.
That's enough of that shit. If it hadn't been for your stupid behavior, these men would never known you were here.
Well, what did he do, Alana?
Doesn't matter. Let's say one of us again.
Hold still, Cadet, or I'll fix you like I did the other fellow.
The other fellow is Commander Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol.
Oh. Oh, what do you think of that? I have knocked out the great Commander Corey.
That's just fine, Drayton. I've got more work for you to do.
Yes.
You and Chester get rid of the commander's ship. Chester take the ship far away from here and hide it securely. Drayton will take my ship and bring Chester back.
Very well.
First, we've got to dispose of Corey and the Cadet. They're on space items, in case we get to be searched by the Space Patrol. There's a room in the sub-basement of the tower. Seal them in there, Drayton. The room behind the stairs.
Yeah.
And make sure you seal the door up completely. I don't want anyone to suspect that there's even a room there.
You leave it to me, Orlando.
Chester, you help Drayton take those two down to sub-basement.
Yes, all right. Go ahead, Drayton. What did Chester do while I was there? To bring the space patrol in there, huh?
Just follow my orders, Drayton. And Chester, let's stand near that small group on the house. Both of you report to me and they'll be right back.
Commander. We've got to do something quick. Yeah. In a room in the sub-basement of the tower. Carolina has one of the men sealing us up in here. Then they're going to get rid of our spaceship, so nobody will come looking for it. That big bruiser is out there. See, you can see through the window. I think this room we can use as a weapon. No, so I checked. All there is some old books and filing cases. There's Drayton grinning in here at us. He's getting ready to seal over the window. Certainly is. He carried me down here under one arm. What are we going to do, sir? We're going to get him to open the door for me. Whatever we do, we've got to do it quickly. Let's see what we can do, sir. The door's locked and practically sealed. And when Drayton and Chester get rid of Terra 5, nobody will ever even come down here looking for it. It is, sir. Up on the surface level, I think. Waiting for Drayton. I don't think those two like each other. They both seem to go out of their way to make the other look stupid in front of their own. They do. Drayton kept asking questions about what went on while he was away. I got the impression he wasn't very smart, but he was awfully inquisitive. And suspicious, perhaps. Let's see how curious it really is. Let's go to work in those books and filing cabinets, Captain. Huh? You take the files, act as though you found something about Drayton, point at him, pretend you found some information about him. Did he? As though Orlando had a secret file on her henchman here at Rubik. The idea. You can arouse Drayton's curiosity. Did you watch this happen? Sure is. He stops the man at the door and he's gawking in through the window. Point at it again, all right. So it's a great joke. It doesn't matter what they say. Point at the files. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hey, what a dope this Drayton is. You know, he's just about dumb enough to tear down that concrete and open the door and find out what we're doing in here.
Get up.
Yeah. Hey, look at that big, dumb face. He's just aching to know what we found in here in the files, Commander.
You don't think you can open the door? No, that's very interesting in the Here he comes.
Hey, what have you got in there?
Nothing.
Oh, don't try to fool me. I've been watching you through the door. What does it say about me in those files?
Would there be anything about you in here, Drayton?
There's something in there. I know it. So my Shepka told Alana. That's it.
Is up there now laughing at me. He figures he's tricked me into sealing up evidence against myself, right where he can get his hands on it when he needs it.
Draken, there's nothing in these files about you.
Get out of the way. You can't fool me, Corey.
Well, I guess that's right.
Corey, you can't.
I've got him, Commander.
Oh! Right, with me, will you? Now, Corey.
No, now, you Draken.
Yes. Hey, Commander, you're not breaking cold. Yeah. Let's get out of here before he comes to.
Chester, hasn't Draken finished sealing up that room yet?
No, Orlando. But I could have done it in half the time.
Clumsy oaf. We've got to get Corey's ship away from Rubeck City right away.
While Draken and I are gone, you might hide the stolen money and jewels just in case the Space Patrol squad comes here.
It's a good idea. We won't take any chances. Go down to sub-basement and see what's taking Draken so long.
I'm afraid that Draken got a little too curious, Alana.
Corey! Shifka, do something!
Come back here, Shifka boy.
Get him, Happy.
Let go of me.
Come on, Shifka. I've got him, Commander.
Take Shifka's ray gun. Go down and bring Draken up here.
Yes, sir. Oh, Commander, while I'm down there, shall I bring up some of those files?
What for?
Well, sir, I just thought that Orlana might really decide to write a book about Rubeck, because, well, after all, now she's going to have plenty of time on her hands. Ah!
A preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure follows in just a moment. It's a fire. A 4-alarm blaze on Terra. But, hey, what's the matter with that atomic fire-controlled jet car? Oh, too bad. It's trying to get along on ordinary fuel. That fire control officer's filling the tank up with super fuel. Wow! Listen to that fire-controlled jet car go now. It's supercharged, that's what. Supercharged with super fuel. Yes, sir, boys and girls. To really get going, the answer is super fuel. That's why Buzz Corey eats a good breakfast with the super cereals that help to supercharge you. Rice Chex and Wheat Chex. Ah, there's a couple of really swell-tasting cereals. And both of them have that modern, bite-sized design for easy eating. So, gang, get a quick start in the morning like Buzz Corey does. Eat a good breakfast with a checkerboard super cereal and get supercharged. Get them today. Rice Chex and Wheat Chex in the grand new packages with Buzz Corey or Cadet Happy on the outside and the magic space picture on the inside. And now, an exciting action preview of next week's Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy are searching for a saboteur in the vat room of a plastics factory on Jupiter. Cautiously, they duck under pipes of hot gas feeding into the vats.
All right. Keep your ray gun ready. Yes. Ow. Ruby was right about these pipes being hot. Be careful. He's not behind this one. Let's try number 2.
Wow. What was that?
Well, the pipe has exploded. Blew a valve, probably.
Can rockets feel that heat?
Come on. We got to get out of here.
My throat, I can't breathe.
It's the gas in the broken pipe. That gas is poison.
Be sure to be with us next Saturday for the exciting story, The Vanishing Lake, when Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Ralston again bring you Space Patrol! Special bulletin for boys and girls in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and Knoxville, Tennessee. Buzz Corey's own space battle cruiser, the Ralston Rocket, will be in your area next week. Don't miss it. The Ralston Rocket. Space Patrol, an original Mike Moses production starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Glenn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston and directed by Larry Robertson. Other players were Bela Kovac, Ken Mayer, Virginia Hewitt, and Stephen Robertson. Dick Tufel speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Ralston again present the new exciting Space Patrol. Be sure to see another exciting Space Patrol program on your local ABC television station. Consult your local paper for time and channel. Space Patrol comes to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.